Smitty, it's a holiday weekend here, Smitty. Curious, are you still going live?
What do you think we are? Some kind of Mickey Mouse show? You think I'm some kind of idiot? This is the Fantasy Football Show. This is 365, 24/7. We don't shut it down for nobody. The Fantasy Football Show News Edition. The 7 p.m. show begins right now, pal. File on in.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. I'm your man, Smitty. And yes, we are live today. I had several people say, Smitty, I guess you're not going live today since it's kind of a holiday weekend. And I said, what in the hell are you talking about, broski? I have never heard of such a thing in my life. A day off? What do I look like? A man of madness? No, this is the Fantasy Football Show. This is a new show. We are here 365, 24/7. So file on in and hit that like button on your way in the door. We've got some news to talk about. Phone calls will be answered. Super chats will be answered. Questions will be answered. Ron Navy's in the building. Ozzy's in the building. Blind Larry's in the building. Peanut Butter and Waivers is in the building. Phone lines aren't open. As we're getting busier and more crowded, as the phone calls are going to get more piled on, we're going to have to do certain phone call segments. There'll be certain segments where it's literally one person at a time, hang up, answer your question. Then we'll do panel type stuff at more the end of the show. The end of the show will be more so the panel stuff. The second half of the show, the beginning part is going to be more of a little bit of a Q&A. However, there's not a ton of news. There's quite a bit to like go over, but none of it is like pressing. Some of it is kind of rehashing some news that's been kind of dripping out the last couple days and hit other news wires. And so multiple news sources are talking about it. So we're going to rehash some of it for people that don't maybe know some of these news topics. So let's start off with this man, Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I have a video up that you might want to check out if you like a little St. Brown in 2023, because the video is straight fire. And it talks about how St. Brown and Ja'Marr Chase are quite arguably the two best wide receivers in the National Football League in terms of accumulating total touchdowns in 2023. If you want to know who my early bets are to be the number one and number two touchdown getting wide receivers, this includes total touchdowns. So St. Brown's going to run 2 or 3 of them in. Then you want to watch this video that I've got with Ja'Marr Chase and St. Brown. It says number 1 Ja'Marr Chase, number 2 St. Brown. It's my early prediction. Yeah, it's a little bold. If you want cookie cutter, go down the street. That's where you're going to find that cookie cutter crap. This is the Fantasy Football Show. This is where bold happens. This is where, and that's basically our slogan. This is where bold happens. And if you think that you're going to get a Cooper Kupp and a Justin Jefferson or a Cooper Kupp or a JJ and Ja'Marr Chase, and you're not going to get something bold, then you checked into the wrong show, pal. Because we're doing bold here, not throwing mud at the wall. Hard, cold, calculated, bold predicting, baby. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, for every reason I allude to in the video, for every single negative, speculative, downplaying of his potential rise or his ability to get 10, 12, 13 double-digit touchdowns, I have a rebuttal. And that video is for you. Amon-Ra St. Brown seeking growth as a deep threat, and this was talked about by the coaching staff as well. So this report right here kind of emphasizing what we've already reported on. Other sources and outlets talking about this coaching staff wanting to get him downfield as a deep threat, stretching the defense, and Jahmyr Gibbs moving all over in the backfield, out at the flat, lining up as wide receiver, motioning, and then becoming a running back again as he starts the play outside as a wideout in the slot. This guy, literally, a beat reporter said that 3 consecutive plays were all Jahmyr Gibbs moving around in different positions. One play, he was behind the quarterback and literally took a handoff. The next play, he lined up at wide receiver and ran a route. The next play, he lined up a wide receiver, went in motion, became a running back again, took a handoff. In literally 3 consecutive plays, this guy was not leaving the field. He was moving all around. And why do I mention that? Because St. Brown is going to stretch the field, making Jahmyr Gibbs and that entire offense have a lot more room to navigate as the cornerbacks and the safety are stretched out and brought even further away from the line of scrimmage. And you got this entire place to roam for Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs will be roaming the middle of the field, the flat, out just maybe 1 yard, like a Deebo Samuel, turn around, grab that football, take it 17 yards untouched, and jump out of bounds. Because everyone's going to be afraid, oh, he's going to get hurt. He's 199 pounds. This guy, Jahmyr Gibbs, is going to do work. And it starts on Thursday, opening day. It's going to be glory. I can't wait to watch the Detroit Lions face off against the Kansas City Chiefs in what's going to be an amazing Thursday night game because there's no short turnaround weeks. It's opening day. Thursday should be high scoring. This will not be your traditional Thursday game where we're worried about low scores. This should be a high scoring affair. This should be a magnificent kickoff to the season. Well-rested teams walking into Thursday, and they're going to get extra rest going into the next week. So this will be absolutely fantastic for both these teams. Jahmyr Gibbs, again, back to St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs doing work, making it really hard on defenses to focus on St. Brown. And if St. Brown's stretching the field, guess what? He's going to get more touchdowns because he's going to grab them because he's a monster. I'd be surprised if this guy ever got tackled again. He's got a chip on his shoulder every single time he hits the field. And people are doubting him to be more than a 5, 6, 7 touchdown wide receiver. And my video maps out why he's going to get double-digit touchdowns and exceed that by an extreme amount. But St. Brown said he himself is aiming to become more of a deep threat. And so I wanted to bring that up because multiple news reports are starting to pick it up. That might create a little bit of an ADP bump. It may not. So I wanted to prepare you on that. This news right here on Nyheim Hines, I thought was pretty important, even though he's kind of a non-factor. He could become a factor at any moment. This is kind of proof of why you want to stay away from the Buffalo Bill backfield. Number one, they don't emphasize the running game. They don't feed the running backs. This is a pass-heavy attack that's going to continue to abandon the run at certain points during the game. The run will get game scripted out more often than it's game scripted in. And so when a guy like Nyheim Hines gets praised by the running backs coach, talking about how he can function in anything we do when asked about how the team may use him in 2023. It just goes to show you have no idea what's in store for the running back situation in 2023. So this makes me want to tell you to stay clear of really all Buffalo Bill RBs. And I think I might have another clip somewhere from this running back stable. But you've got just 4. It's not any less crowded because Singletary isn't there. Everyone says, "Oh, Singletary's gone. Now James Cook's going to do well," right? No. You got Harris there. You got Hines there. You got Cook there. You got a really a big still running back by committee mess in a system that does not feature the running back. They have at times had productivity for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. A couple years back, the Buffalo Bills fed Singletary so much in the final 6 games, and that includes the playoffs though. The final month of football and then into the first the handful of playoff games where they were successful, and they had a massive shootout, I believe, against the Chiefs in that one game that came down to the wire. It was just a gunslinging fest. But leading into that gunslinging affair where the Buffalo Bills lost and they exited that season, people thinking, "Oh my God, they're a balanced attack now." That was the year that Singletary had, I believe, 8 touchdowns in the final 6 games. I believe, if my memory's serving me correct, it was 7 or 8 total touchdowns. That includes receiving in the final 8 played games. I'm sorry, the final 6 played games that he had, and he had a lot of efficiency. But those come in spurts. The Buffalo Bills do not commit to the run in a way that you should feel confident about Nyheim Hines, about James Cook, about Harris. It just depends on the value, the cost of entry. Is Cook in the double-digit rounds worth a stab? I suppose. I mean, if he becomes the starter for 5 or 6 games, maybe that helps you win a championship, So I'm not saying to stay clear at all costs, but I'm going to say don't make the Buffalo Bill running attack. Don't make a single player like James Cook or a single player like Damian Harris or a single player like Nyheim Hines, somebody you're going into a draft targeting. I get a lot of those questions where people go, Smitty, should I target James Cook? It's like, I don't know, bro. If James Cook falls to you and he's the best player on the board, take him. But like, this is what you're going to stop me? I'm walking by. I'm a busy guy. I'm not trying to say I don't want to mingle with people. I answer almost every comment I can. I'm a little behind right now. Drop a comment and test me. I'll try and reply to every single comment. But I'm literally walking by, busy as can be, and someone stops me, and the question they have is, should I target James Cook in my draft? No, you shouldn't target James Cook in your draft. No, you shouldn't target Damian Harris. If he falls to you, I kind of like Damian Harris the most. But the problem is Cook knows the offense better. The problem is Nyheim Hines, just right here, what I just showed you. He's getting all kinds of love from the running backs coach. We don't know. So, use your question a little more wisely and ask me something that pertains to you winning. Because right now, asking me about the Buffalo Bill backfield's like asking me, hey, do you think I could roll a 6 on my next roll here, Smitty, with the die? What do I do? Am I going to get a 6? I don't know, bro. I don't know. All I know is this situation's not ideal to be anywhere near your lineup. Anywhere near your lineup. Now, here's another guy in a crowded situation, Devon Achane, who's got a tremendous amount of upside. Now, this guy is worth stashing. I say stash because he can't be drafted anything other than a stash at this point. You can't take Achane and put him in a position where you don't get what you're paying for, and you're screwed. You're sitting here going, okay, I drafted him to be my flex, and now he's not even in the game in week 1. You don't know if he's going to get carries in week 1. He may go out there and get 1 carry in week 1 and be one of the most dropped players in fantasy football redraft. You have to make sure you're taking him as a stash. But he has more stash ability, in my opinion, than any of the Buffalo backs. In fact, I would rather, even in a committee, even in a similar kind of like, hey, don't expect anything. It's a committee, bro. Even in that kind of environment, I'd rather have him than both Cook and Harris. I just think there's more. I'm not using Cook or Harris in my lineup. Cook or Harris or Achane, these guys are being drafted to win you a league. If they get in there full time, things start firing off, and you get in some trouble, and you need to throw someone in, and they close it out for you. So I'd rather take a home run swing on Achane than worry about the Buffalo Bill unproven, totally proven to be unproven backfield. Give me a swing at this guy. But where? Hey, Smitty, should I target Achane? Okay, I can give you a nod on that one, but where? I can't just give you a round. This guy's going to fall in different territories on different platforms with different grandmas and different Uncle Bobs, and you're playing in a shark league over here. His ADP is not going to be consistent because he's volatile. He's in the news. Some people are overly excited about him. Some people don't trust him at all. Some people look at this as the 2 Niner backs. You got Mostert and Wilson ahead of Achane. Dalvin Cook could be coming over to Miami. We don't know. So you kind of have to really play this by ear walking into your draft, and do not expect him. Do not expect him to do anything. You can't draft him with an expectation that he's going to do well, because Dalvin Cook could land there. And don't give me that Dalvin Cook could be good for him. No, he won't. It won't be good to add another running back and make this a 4-man committee. Give me a break. So Achane, I like him a lot. It just really depends. Brock Purdy, his elbow remains on track to be ready for the start of 2023. So for week 1 so far, he's the projected starter. Let's go ahead and wait till we get into even early August before we start buying into this completely. This guy had he didn't have a Tommy John surgery. He had more of like a bridge repair, you could think of it like a patchwork thing between the torn UCL ligament that turned into 2, completely torn. They did what you could consider like an extension patch on it to connect it back together versus doing a full Tommy John, which traditionally takes longer, but your Tommy John surgery can oftentimes, and you can look at history of a lot of them, put a player's, whether it's baseball, usually it's baseball, a player in better long-term strength than before. Like, you'll have a stronger arm potentially after Tommy John's than you would before with this almost, I don't want to say experimental surgery because it's been done before, but I believe we only have one other player in the history of the NFL that has had that patchwork repair to the UCL, and that was, I believe, Nick Mullins, who was not a starter really. And so you don't have the longevity, true and tried and tested recovery, an example. So I think people are gonna look at this situation and they're gonna have too high of expectations. For me, I don't think I go near Purdy at all in terms of trusting him for your fantasy team. Purdy will keep the best arm. Will keep the best arm in Niners history as a backup, says Speedy. I don't think Purdy's, bro, I don't know if you're watching or paying attention, Speedy, to that Niners situation, but these Trey Lance believers, and believe me, I was on Trey Lance for a while, but I have a logical way of approaching fantasy football that I believe separates my previous bold predictions, my digging of my heels in. You guys have seen me come in strong for Najee Harris last offseason, all beginning of the season. And then we started to hear whispers of the Liz Frank injury, even though it was said to be in the past. I changed directions. I don't dig my heels in. I try and adjust and adapt. I will jump off something as quickly as I jumped on it for you guys. I'm not fickle. I'm not back and forth. I'm not indecisive. I try and look at it logically, and I'm telling you right now, Trey Lance is in the worst setup situation for a quarterback that I can ever remember. I can't remember a player ever being 3 first-rounders were traded for this guy. 3 first-rounders. I have never seen a coach or organization punt quarterback like the Niners punt quarterback. I have never seen a coaching staff look at an injured player like Brock Purdy and not turn to the guy they surrendered 3 first-rounders to and say, you know what, buddy? Step up. If you lose it, we know what we got in this guy, but we paid you. We paid for you through the roof. Mortgage the future. 3 first-rounders. And now he has an opportunity to walk in so you can make this guy fully healthy and you don't take it. You don't shove Trey Lance out into the spotlight. Debacle. Shanahan is a debacle when it comes to quarterback decision-making. It's proven. There's no situation where Shanahan's been proven to make the right decision at quarterback over the last handful of years. DJ Moore's chemistry with Fields is improving. We've heard this before, but this is a new report, so it's just kind of surfacing everywhere. And this is good because Fields, to me, is the best pick in fantasy football, or top 4. He's number 3 best pick in fantasy football 2023. These four videos are out. Number 1, best pick in fantasy football. This video is out on my YouTube channel. If you scroll past the first row of live, past live streams and all, there'll be a 4 video series. All 4 of these videos are easy to find on my homepage, my YouTube homepage, in the second video row. They're all by themselves. There's only 4 of them. Joe Burrow, number 1. Jahmyr Gibbs is the 2nd best pick in fantasy football. Justin Fields is the 3rd best pick in fantasy football. And Kenneth Walker, that video dropped today, is the 4th best pick. If you cuff him to Zach Charbonnet, go check out that 4-part video series down on my YouTube channel, down below the first row of videos. So this is old news here. Let's see, where were we? Right there. We got Hopkins update too. So Fields is, in my opinion, set up to be not only a top 5 quarterback, but he has top 1 to 5 potential. It would not shock me in the slightest, if DJ Moore were to help assist Fields in becoming the number 1 overall quarterback in fantasy football by the end of the year. You're drafting him at 5. You're drafting him in round 5. You're drafting him as QB 5. You're drafting him over Lamar. Let other people take Lamar in round 3. Fields is one of the biggest steals in round number 5. Smitty, what happened to Bijan being one of the best picks? What do you mean, bro? Bijan's you're taking Bijan 1, 2, 3, or 4 overall. How much more support can I give to Bijan, Speedy? Who here is supported Bijan more than me? Nobody. You'll find not one single analyst, Speedy, that is higher on Bijan than I am. But you can't say it's the best pick in fantasy football when you're taking him number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 overall. Those aren't the best picks in fantasy. You're paying cost, but you're expecting a return. You're expecting more than a return, but those can't be the steals of the draft, Speedy. I mean, it's almost like you're saying that I'm stepping away from Bijan, Speedy. I have Bijan higher than anybody. You know how much flack I get because I take him number 1 overall, number 2 overall, number 3 overall. He is the running back 1, Speedy. Not 2. He's not behind McCaffrey. He's running back 1. I draft him running back 1. But how in the hell are you going to question these 4 right here, Speedy? When this has to do with 4th round, 4th round, 5th round, 5th round, Speedy. It's all right. Okay, so Fields' chemistry's working amazingly well. The rapport between these two is kickstarting very, very well. I think that DJ Moore isn't as quick to become a top 10 or top 8 wide receiver as much as Fields becomes a top 1 to 4, 1 to 3, 1 to 2 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's hard to say like, hey, I love Fields. I love Fields because of DJ Moore, but I don't really love DJ Moore as a high-end wide receiver 1. I know it's hard for people to take and accept it. Wouldn't they be one and the same? Not really, because Fields doesn't go out and throw for 5,000 yards. Fields is going to go out and I think throw for a boatload more than people expect. I think he's going to probably be maybe 3,600 yards, 3,700. He could throw for 3,800 yards and surprise everybody coming off of way more than 1,000 less than that, like is what he came out of 2022 with, because he ran. He didn't have any options. But having DJ Moore doesn't automatically, just because it makes Fields so much more amazing and opens his ability up to throw the football, doesn't make him a top 8 wide receiver. But like if you're drafting him as your wide receiver 2, he could explode from that value. But do I see him as a wide receiver 1? I think he's a borderline, but not a guy you want to draft as your wide receiver 1. You don't want to draft him as wide receiver 1. You just want to take him, and cuffing him is okay, but I'm not drastically reaching and combing the ADP and trying to figure out and plot and ploy how to couple him with Fields, or I feel like I didn't best ball stack appropriately. I'd rather get Cole Kmet and Fields and just take different players where he's probably going. That sounds weird. I know a lot of people don't understand it, but Moore is a great asset that makes Fields amazing, but he doesn't necessarily drop top 8 numbers. But he could. You just don't want to overpay for him. This news on Hopkins, I again don't truly buy that he's going to New England. Some suggest that $33 million 3-year deal, because it's so incentive laden, because there's not as much guaranteed money as originally thought in the contract. I still think that move, based on the optics of it, based on what we heard way before he signed that deal, when we had no news whatsoever, when Devontae Parker was said to be potentially a cap casualty if they brought Hopkins in, it was a him or him situation. It wasn't both. It wasn't let's bring them both in. Some say the offer is still out there. Maybe it is. The offer was clearly not enough for Hopkins to accept it. He walked away. I think in turn the Patriots then decided, okay, he doesn't want it. Let's go and turn our efforts toward Devontae Parker. Because there was a visit and no news whatsoever, and then a big, space in between, and then the Devontae Parker signing, deductive reasoning would tell you that they waited, they tried, they waited a while, they went and tried to solve the situation. It's not like the Devontae Parker deal was supposed to get done in conjunction with this. It was fully expected to be a him or him situation. And is it possible that he comes back and the Patriots, talk it over and say, hey, let's try and bring them both in and let's really help Mac Jones out? Sure. I mean, the percentage chance seems low to me, but you never know. And teams do things that we don't expect all the time. Teams do things that I especially don't expect every time. But Hopkins, to me, is not headed to New England. This could change. If I eat my words, I eat my words. I'm predicting here. We have a lot of variables at play, a lot of moving parts, but my deductive reasoning here is that these things fell into place in a sequence for a reason. They didn't just, Devontae ended up accepting his offer that they had out, and Hopkins is now going to accept his. It was let's see if we can get him. There's a lot of reports that Devontae Parker, and they could have been wrong, was going to get released if they brought him in. So I don't think he signs with the Patriots, but this report is still floating around out there. And it doesn't mean things floating around are always legit or real. Sometimes they have some legs to them no matter what, though. So, it's possible. Rachaad White has a lofty goal in 2023 to rush for 1,000 yards and be the first 1,000-yard rusher since Doug Martin in 2015. I love Rachaad White. You guys know I love Rachaad White. We got 2 super chats real quickly. Let me hit these out of the park real quickly. Guillermo, my man, the myth, the legend, says Fields for Charbonnet, Stroud, and a mid-24 first. Gave a haul. Do you think it was worth it? My QB1 was Pickett. QB2 is Lance. Fields for Charbonnet, Stroud, and a mid-24. Gave a haul. Fields. So if you traded Fields, I think you're saying you got Fields for Charbonnet, Stroud, and a mid-24 first. If you're the one that got Fields and it's a super flex, bro, what you're saying QB1 and QB2, I don't think you'd be giving me your QB2 and QB1 information. You just be telling me your QB still is this player. If this was super flex, bro.
Got him.
If this was super flex, you got him. If it was one QB, look, I still like it because Fields is that good to me. But if you did this in a super flex, you crush it. I love Charbonnet, but he is guaranteed nothing. And I like Stroud, but I don't love Stroud. And your mid-24 first rounder, who cares at the end of the day if this was super flex? You got a top 5 or 6 overall pick in super flex. You underpaid if you got Fields. If you traded, because I can't tell by your verbiage here, Fields 4, you're basically saying traded Fields 4, but I think you're saying it reverse. So I don't know which way it is. Let me see if Guillermo's going to answer and let us know if he got him or what. Answer, Guillermo, before I go crazy on you right now, let us know which side you got. Thomas, are you saying St. Brown over Garrett Wilson? Just asking. No, just because I like St. Brown to be one of the touchdown leaders. If you watch the video, I have Garrett Wilson and I have Chris Olave is like the next in line to be touchdown leaders if I have to go bold and stretch it a little bit. And Garrett Wilson could easily score 2 or 3 less touchdowns, have more receptions, have more yards. At the end of the day, I'm probably taking Garrett Wilson, but honestly, they're almost neck and neck, bro. They're almost neck and neck. They're really, really, really close. White without Fournette should go off, says Speedy. The problem is, and I'll get back to this in 1 second, I just want to see if Guillermo is getting or receiving Fields because I'm about to send him on a lap, I think, unless he just worded it wrong. Thank you, Thomas, for the super chat. Thank you, Guillermo, for the $5 holler. Broski, to the moon, pal.
To the moon.
I'm going to send him to the moon before I maybe send him on a lap. I'm not sure. And Young with the super chat says Fields gets sniped more than any. Snag him 3/4. Not an underdog. An underdog, he falls to around 5. Well, it depends on the platform. In weeklies, he goes earlier. But in like Best Ball Mania, in any other 1 QB best ball draft, he goes in around 5 like clockwork. But it depends who you draft with. This is almost as good a news as Brees hoping to play week 1. What is, Eric? What is almost as good a news? Okay, if you got Fields, bro, you got him, bro.
Got him.
Appreciate you with the super chats. Okay, Rachaad White. You guys know how much I love Rachaad White. The problem is he's in a very bad situation. Now, he may get leaned upon, but if you think his yards per carry are going to be amazing in this situation, I got a bridge to sell you, because it's probably going to be a very, very, very tough sledding. Probably like a 3.4, 3.5, sometimes 2.9 yard game per carry. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying he can't weather through it and be some sort of, amazing like gem and just, put on a masterclass at the running back position. He's so elusive. I just very, very much question whether they're going to be able to utilize all of these traits and assets that this guy can bring to the table. And I wish Rachaad White was unleashed when Brady was still around. I wish Rachaad White was in a better situation. He's playing in a collapsing offense that has two very, very bad quarterbacks. Two very, very bad. Very bad. Like, probably the worst quarterback room aside. I don't even know if the Raiders have a better overall quarterback room. Honestly. O'Connell or whatever. I think it's rookie O'Connell. I'd rather bank on that. I don't think Trask or Baker are getting it done. They look absolutely putrid in camp. They look horrible. They don't just look rusty, they look awful. And I don't know that Rachaad White's going to sniff the end zone. I just don't think he's going to sniff the end zone. Yeah. So, okay. So Hopkins, as far as this, like I said earlier, I already kind of addressed this. Everyone's going to paint this, especially Patriots fans and people, Patriots news wires and beat writers. They're painting it like, oh, you freed up money for Hopkins. You saved 3.7. But there's roster bonuses that change that number from the 3 point whatever million that he's getting paid on the new deal back up to the 5.7 or 5.9 that he was getting before it got restructured. There's incentives involved. The incentives make his contract more hefty. And if they signed him to that, if they brought him back in on a 3-year deal, didn't leave him on the 1, they clearly believe he's going to meet those incentives. So that's kind of faulty logic when people say, oh, but it's actually cheaper up front when you're saving like 3.7 million, maybe. And then on top of that, you're sending a message that you were going to wait to sign him because you potentially were bringing in Hopkins and you may have cut him, bro. And so I think the sign doesn't really indicate they're going stronger after Hopkins. If for any reason they do sign both of them, it isn't because they restructured the contract and now they want to spend the money. They went after Parker because Hopkins didn't sign. And if Hopkins comes back, they got to determine whether they still want to give him that money and allot that amount of money to the wide receiver room. It has nothing to do with freeing it. People are just making shit up, bro. That Hopkins is now they're going after him. Now they're going after him because they brought Parker back on a 3-year restructured deal. It has nothing to do with it. If it's going that direction, it's going to be whether they want to bring in another wide receiver after allocating that much money to the wide receiver room. It's more about the order of things, my guy. But, it could happen. They could reassess. If Hopkins calls up Bill and he says, hey, I said no earlier. I know you kind of moved on. You made a statement. We're going to move on if you're not going to sign. And but is there a way you'd still have me? Bill's going to check. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. We'll just bring you both in. That's fine. That's how it's going to go down. It's not going to go down by like, let's restructure and get 3.7 million. And then we're going to go ahead and come get it. Sounded like Smitty is frustrated. I took Tank Dell number 5 overall. Speedy, you only frustrate yourself when you reach, though, bro. But we appreciate you. We understand who you are, and we accept you for who you are. But you're only hurting yourself. If you reach all day long, I'll just draft around that. I'll draft some different team I don't normally draft. It's all good, brother. It doesn't frustrate me a single bit. But I try and help you and guide you. You reach about 5 rounds too high on some guys in a mock draft. And so I'm just trying to guide you, my man. I'm your coach. High knees. Take a lap. I don't think he listens, though, to be honest. Terrence Marshall, kind of a talk of a lot of, I don't know. He's in little like whisper circles for being a potential sleeper breakout, guy that's going to come in and be the number 1 wide receiver. And I don't blame people for being excited about him. And this head coach Frank Wright says that Terrace Marshall shows the capacity to be a big play guy this season. You hear a lot of coach talk this time of year, so we can only take it so much, and run with it. But I do believe that Terrace Marshall does have the capacity to be the number one wide receiver, not only for this year, but to become the not elite wide receiver in the National Football League, but the DJ Moore replacement. And it's a perfect example. He could very, very, like, not small chance, but very, curb your expectation type of chance of becoming the next DJ Moore and being 12 to 15 in fantasy football wide receiver rankings. Like, he has that ability. And the good news is his ADP is almost essentially free. You can almost get him entirely free. So I like him. And Carolina's going to be struggling in games, and you're going to see them wanting to unleash their quarterback, who I still have a lot of hope for. I like Bryce Young a lot. And I think Terrace Marshall, who knows if he gets a bunch of garbage third and fourth quarter usage. And we're talking about a play extender in Bryce Young, who's going to extend a play, throw a long, 60-yard touchdown, not necessarily in the air, but like throw a 60-yard touchdown to this guy Marshall off of a broken extended play where Young's scrambling around. This guy's running a second chance route across the field, drags across the middle, catches the football 30 yards down from the line of scrimmage, and makes one juke because the defense is all like running back past him, and the guy's all by himself, runs it in for a score, and everyone goes, Terrace Marshall is the next breakout wide receiver. And I can see it happening. I'm not like ultra excited. I'm not completely signing the petition to make him a sleeper walking into 2023, but my ears are perked up. I am listening. I am watching. I am observing. And I think that this is a very good situation for him, because if Mingo, who we like Mingo.
M-I-N-G-O, and Mingo was his name.
We like Mingo, okay? We're a big Mingo community. But if he doesn't turn out to be who we believe he could be, a little mini A.J. Brown, poor man's A.J. Brown, with upside for more, this guy could become something. One of the two is going to probably do something semi-special considering the situation. That's all I'm trying to say. And the final piece of news here before we open the phone lines to a quick one and done, then the panel after that. Joe Mixon, all sides would prefer a resolution sooner rather than later with Joe Mixon's contract situation. That goes without saying, but this is brand new. This just dropped, I believe, today. And again, a smart player, and I'm not necessarily saying that Mixon is or isn't smart. We do know he's got a checkered past that some say he left behind him. Leave him alone, Smitty. But look, it's rearing its ugly head again, because there's been two situations now. One he reportedly wasn't involved in, but happened at his house. There was a shooting, and before that, there was a brandishing a weapon in a road rage incident where the charges got dropped, and then the charges got refiled, and so he's still going through that. Mixon could be in some legal trouble. He could get a suspension or something. We don't know where it's going to go from here. Given the police didn't pursue charges, it's hard to believe that the victim, alleged victim, pursuing more charges or trying to go after him is going to lead to anything. We don't really know. But if there was evidence that he brandished a weapon during this road rage situation, I don't know. I don't know what could come of it. I do know the league, the NBA, that take a lot of these situations a little more seriously than some other ones. So you never know what could lead to it. But the bottom line is this. He's dropped off in talent. The Mixon believers will say, oh, he'll be fine, Smitty. He's not getting cut, Smitty. He's getting cut if he doesn't agree to a reduced contract. If he doesn't agree to a massive pay cut, he will be released. Know that. That is the word I'm getting on several fronts. He's getting released if he doesn't agree to a contract cut. The question he's got to ask himself, and the people he keeps around him for advice, is where is that fine line between it's still above anything that you're ever going to get if you hit the open market, so let's lower our contract expectation level, our bar, to this level right here. And he's got to hope that the Bengals have a very similar outlook. If the Bengals ask him to lower his contract below what the benefit would be, he believes, to hit the open market, because he's going to have high expectations for himself. Hopkins thought he was going to get the bag. He's not. Dalvin Cook thought he was going to get the bag. He's not right now, at least. He's not. It's very, very likely that Mixon gets cut and there's no market for him. There is no market for him, but will he see that? Does he believe, I'm better than Hopkins, I'm better than Cook, I'm going to go get me my bag after I get released. I'm not taking the pay cut you guys want. And the Bengals say, look, if you don't take a cut right here, you're gone. We got Chase Brown over here ready to go. We got the tires squealing. He's ready to go. He's revved up. He's going to drop loads all over the field. And Mixon is like, oh, I'm a starter. I'm going to go find myself a contending team, get the bag and a championship. He's going to miss it. This is the year Mixon either swallows his pride, stays on the team to win a championship, or he gets released and the Bengals win a championship without him immediately. I can see it now. Chase Brown's stock will soar to the sky. It'll shatter the ceiling if this guy gets cut. Chase Brown will climb more ADP-wise than we've seen any running back climb all offseason long. He will literally go from nearly undrafted double-digit rounds into the single-digit round territory, and where he climbs, I don't know. Where he climbs, I have no idea. They could also bring somebody else in as well. Spam that like button. We even have 100 and 200 in here. Yeah, we got 200 eyeballs in here. 70 thumbs up. Hit that thumb up button on your way in the door. I don't know what's going to happen here. So we'll just have to see. But Mixon has tailed off anyway. He is not the same player. Chase Brown will be mixed in. It wouldn't shock me even if Mixon stayed on the roster and lost more than half of the touches by midseason. It wouldn't surprise me if he got injured, because there's so much tread and mileage on those tires, that Chase Brown will start games in 2023. Chase Brown could be Moon Man material. I might put him on the Satellite Man list at least, but he has Moon Man potential written all over him. I love Chase Brown. I love the Bengals offense. I love how they might use Chase Brown, and they could bring in somebody else like Dalvin Cook. They could trade for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There are 100 different ways this could go, but Chase Brown would go through the roof if this guy Mixon got cut. Get ready for it. Phone lines are open. Let's do a very quick speed question and answer session on the phone lines. Then we will open it up to a panel. I will have some different intros for the phone call segments. I will say, hey, here's the quick, phone call segment. Here's the more long. Hang out on the panel. Let's argue. Let's have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 people on the phone line. There will be different segments. Right now, we're going to do a quick little dial in, 30 seconds and go phone call conversation.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in if you have a question. Your boy is here to help you. Let me see if I can get my YouTube exclusive membership information up in front of me here so that I know what is going on. I appreciate you all. Dial in. KC is a four-headed running back room. Prime, I don't agree. Prime, you and I don't agree on a whole lot lately. I have to say, my guy. I have to say, you and I are at odds on a lot of different things all the time. I still appreciate you, and I don't mind the counterpoint here. You definitely are an added bonus in an asset to the show. But I do believe you and I are so far apart on so many things. I don't think it's a four-headed monster at all. I don't think they rotate at all. They stick to one guy. They just rotate through one guy. So if you have, to me, that wouldn't be called a four-headed monster. I would say it's a one-headed monster with potentially interchangeable monster heads that you put on the monster and throw them out there. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a four-headed. I'd say that you're going to have a top 10 running back almost guaranteed if you own the top three guys, and you'd have to monitor Prince. We have a waiver wire video dropping. Prince will be on it. I'm doing week 1 waiver wire right now. Like I was going to do it last night. I've had a lot of things going on in the background trying to get all these videos and some other things going on. So I apologize that I didn't get the week 1 waiver wire show cooking last night. I was going to try to the exact night that it would happen anyway on Sunday night. So I tried to do it last night, but I might do a pre-recorded week 1 waiver wire show to drop tomorrow. But we're doing week 1 waiver wire tomorrow, and you'll hear, you'll hear Prince, you'll hear that KC running back room will definitely be on that show. We got Living Legend on the phone. What's up, pal?
Hey, Smitty, man. I don't know if you can help me or not, man. I just drafted my sleeper team, man. I didn't know if you could board me or not, or if you want me to call back later.
Yeah, hit me with it real quick.
All right, so at QB, I got Gino. Running back, I got Chubb and Rashad White. Receiver, I got Chase, Olave. And tight end, I got Kincaid. And then my flex people, I got Chris Godwin and Jordan Addison. And then my bench people, I got Jerick McKinnon, Curtis Samuel, Alan Lazard, and Kadarius Toney.
Oh, come on. You put no respect on Tony.
No, I mean, it's just like a draft, so I didn't
Okay, I got you. Just the way he was left off until the end. Oh, and then we also got Kadarius Toney on the bench. Look, I honestly think Kadarius Toney will flirt with being your flex over Godwin. Like, I'd almost lean this way. Maybe eventually, maybe week 1, we'll have to kind of see where Tony's looking in shaping out, But Godwin, I understand everybody will want to throw Godwin there in the initial week. You could even go Addison on the bench until he gets going and go Godwin and Tony and consider that. I mean, I'm not saying to take Addison out necessarily. I just don't know how much I trust that Tampa Bay QB room at all, bro. So this is a very good team. I think, Olave, this is Dynasty or redraft?
I think it's redraft. I didn't even get to check. I think it's redraft.
You don't even know, bro?
I mean, I just started with the draft, so I didn't even check to see whether it was Dynasty or redraft. I just started with the draft. We just drafted on the 30th.
Yeah, but Living Legend, you're my dude. So don't. This is me being a coach. I send you guys on laps all the time, so please don't take offense to it. But I just sent you on a lap. You have to know if it's a redraft or Dynasty because that affects your draft style. You know what I'm saying? That makes Jahmyr Gibbs a top 15 player versus being drafted in the 4th round. That makes Nick Chubb less valuable. Makes him he's extremely valuable in a redraft. But you got to take different mentalities into these drafts. So I sent you on a little lap. Yeah. You got to know that you can't. It's a huge.
I mean, it doesn't say that it's a dynasty league. You feel me? It's just like a regular. It's just a regular draft league. You know what I mean? So it ain't like you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, you said you didn't. You said you didn't know, so I was just a little panicked for you. Okay, so if it's redraft, can you trade in it? Is it like a ESPN league?
Yeah, it's a sleeper. Yeah.
Okay, and did you join with some buddies, or how did you?
I mean, some guys, you know what I mean, through the the YouTube.
Okay, so if you click settings, like if you go to settings on Sleeper, and you go to I forget. Let me see where it is. Let me look at it right here. I can tell you whether you can check if it's redraft or dynasty. Okay, so when you're on the league page, right, you see that little settings cog.
Yeah.
Okay, click that, and then general. Click on general. It'll say league type. Redraft?
Yeah, it's redraft. Yeah.
Good. Okay. You can take a deep breath. I'm still, you still need to know that when you go in for sure, because it could affect everything, bro. You literally would not draft a great team if you didn't know what, approach to take. But Chase Olave, that is a number 1 and a number 2 round player right there. Nick Chubb is a round 2 player in redraft. You got him. You got 2 round 2 guys. So to pat you on the back and say you got a first rounder in Chase, you got 2 second rounders in Olave and Chubb. Absolute home run there, bro. The only part I'd say I feel like something went astray, and I don't know if you drafted Addison too early or Godwin too early. I don't think it was Geno or Rashad White that you would have drafted that early, but I feel like maybe there's a little bit of a reach somewhere between Addison and Godwin that I would have went a different direction because you started off strong, bro. But I don't know that I think Addison or Godwin or Geno. I don't see unless I'm missing somebody. I don't know if you can see my board. I don't see who your fourth rounder is.
Yeah, it was getting pretty bad at that point, man. I had what I got in my fourth round. Let me see.
Probably Addison or Godwin, but probably Godwin. And I don't know. I don't love that situation. Like I literally told you.
I think it was Godwin because every time I would be ready to draft my guy, they would be like somebody get him like two or three right before I got it. So it was like, I had to like regroup.
Yeah, go to the T Law owner. Go to the T Law owner. Go to the Fields owner. And maybe try and trade for T Law or Fields using Godwin and Geno or something like that. That's what I would do, bro. You get a heavy hitter in there. I'm not saying Geno can't do well, but you get a heavy hitter in there, and then all of a sudden I start feeling really good about the squad. I really like Burrow or Fields, or especially Burrow or Fields. Fields is probably the easiest to acquire right now. And if you go looking at the quarterbacks, if you go to let's see, go to your team, and then click trade. Click trade, and then at the top right you'll see a green trade button again.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you get there, then you can see everybody's teams and look at everybody's quarterback and try and find somebody that's got Burrow and Fields, or try the Burrow and Fields owner and see if they somehow got another quarterback, like they drafted two of them. Like just go looking for a little bit of a quarterback upgrade. That's what my advice would be. Aaron Rodgers would make a lot of sense. And I would try
because everybody had drafted like their quarterback like first round. That's how I got Chase.
Yeah,
that's how I got Chase at the 1.4. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah. Well, hey, nice job, but upgrade that quarterback. Hang tight real quick. Let's just open the panel up now. If anybody wants to call in, I'll throw everybody on here. We got Lando on the line. Lando, what can I assist you with, my guy? You're live.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, bro? Hey, what's going on, Smitty Nation?
What's up?
I didn't think I'd get through, but now that I am, kind of have a question similar to the guy before.
Okay.
He's I'm also in a super flex, a big league super flex. It's also best ball, and I just wanted to ask a couple of questions to you in regards to like middle round guys, middle round players that could be potential.
All right, hit me with it. Go.
Yep.
Go, bro.
All right. Draft is over for me, so I just wanted to throw out a couple of names. Obviously, Tank Bixby's out there.
Okay.
Patrick Campbell. I'm sorry.
Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell. Yeah, Patrick
Campbell. Yeah, right. Was that an actor or something?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna waste. I'm not gonna even waste my marker. No offense. Go ahead. Next name.
And then how about Michael Gallup?
I'm not gonna waste my marker on that one either. Michael Gallup. They got Michael Gallup. What is it? St. Brown? What was that? What was that high or low rival? It was Gallup versus, I believe. Who was it? I forget who it was, but it's crazy. I'm not going after Gallup. Gallup can kick rocks for 2023. Until he proves he can stay healthy, I have no interest in Gallup clogging up my wide receiver roster slots. So go ahead, next one. I like Bigsby though. We're off to a good start. I like him. So far, he's my guy. Hit me with a couple other names.
Well, it's a really big league. It's a 24-man league. So clearly, it comes down to the point where like you're looking for value at that middle rounds to see who can really flex in. I went with Paris Campbell. I figured he's really rising up in OTAs from what I'm hearing in sources and news, and he could come in as, a good receiver or slot receiver for Jones. Bixby, obviously, he's like the number 2 guy behind ETN, and so you got a good insurance on
the
that
only
one.
guy the only guy I like that you mentioned is Bigsby. Bigsby's you could even call him almost a win a league player, and I hate to say that given how much I love ETN, and I'm not trying to stray people away from liking ETN at all. We got a lot of renewals coming up here on the YouTube memberships. Appreciate Ricky Turbo, all you guys renewing. I appreciate Dan the Grim Reacher dropping a super chat on the screen. Let me drag that and put that on the screen real quick so that Dan, let me see, super chat. Dan the Grim Reacher dropping it. A $5 hauler. You're up next, Dan. I got you right here. Bro, Campbell does nothing for me. I hear what you're saying, but you're talking about a crowded wide receiver room with no real, like, if you're using Campbell as your wide receiver 3, you're in trouble. And so if I'm taking a stash here out of the names you're throwing out, I'm taking a guy that could actually maybe win me a league. And Tank Bigsby could win you a league. Campbell's not winning you nothing, bro. Like, he maybe is serviceable, but you could find another serviceable wide receiver. Bigsby is a dude with a massive, ability to, smash it, grind it out type football between the tackles. And as much as I love ETN, he's going to be, in an A.J. Dillon role potentially in 2023, which is okay because ETN's Alvin Kamara. ETN is Tony Pollard. Not that Tony Pollard can't grind it out between the tackles as the only guy either, but Bigsby's going to get potentially a touchdown, every third game or whatever, and you're gonna be able to use that. Like, if anything, during an injury or a bye week, you could plug Bigsby in probably, I don't know about week 1, but soon, and you'd feel pretty confident he has a nice shot at a touchdown. And if ETN went down, they would turn to Bigsby as the 3-down back, and he would actually be fire. Like, I have to admit, I don't love that he's there, but I also love that he's there because he's so cheap. You can cuff ETN and Bigsby together, and really they shouldn't, one shouldn't, deter you away from the other. He's a great standalone player to grab, like in the case you're talking about here, where you just pick him up and you got Tank Bigsby on your bench in case something happens. I love it, bro.
Yeah.
Campbell, no thanks.
Two other players I just wanted to quickly.
All right, hurry up and then you can stay on the phone and keep asking questions and kind of stay on the panel. But I'm going to move on after this. Go ahead, hit me with the other two.
I'll just drop one guy, and it's for the long term. How about what do you think about Keontae Ingram?
I like him. I think we just need to see him out there. But there's a lot of decent buzz, but not as much as Bigsby. Could he overtake Bigsby in that, that type of value? Sure. But for right now, no.
Cool. Hey, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Appreciate you. You can hang on the line if you have another question. Just sit tight. If you guys can mute until you come on, that'd be great. Just bragging, traded Young, Bryce Young, Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, and Schultz for Hurts, a 24 first. Now I get Burrow, Hurts, London. Bro, that's crazy. Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, Bryce Young, and Schultz. You should have been giving up the first rounder also, but you got the first rounder and Jalen Hurts. Yeah, get ready to look behind your back. The veto police are after you right now, Dan.
Got him.
That's a crazy trade. Okay, Dan, amazing job. Thank you for the super chat as well. Dan,
To the moon.
Next caller is Nick. Nick, you're live. Then Carl, you're next. Nick, go ahead.
What's going on, Smitty?
Yeah, what's up, pal?
I got a keeper question.
Hit me with it.
So we sacrificed the round that we drafted him in last year. So I got St. Brown round 5, and I got Burrow round 6. So the dilemma is other dudes are going to be keeping Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields. So, I want a top-tier QB. So I'm inclined to keep St. Brown round 5, right? And is it silly to be thinking about drafting Burrow in the second round because it really makes no difference because I got that 5th round, St. Brown lock?
I mean,
I want a top QB, and I want your advice as to whether I should gamble and wait to round 3. I don't know what pick I have yet.
Well,
but gamble and wait to round 3 or like lock it in round 2?
Well, round 3 is really round 4, right? Because you got 12 guys being kept. They're most likely top 25, top 30 guys. So Burrow in round 4, you're lucky if you do get him there. He does fall there a lot. So if you're telling me you're going to take him in 2, you're really taking him in 3, and I'm fine with him in 3. You know, if you get Fields or Burrow in 3, and I think you probably will, you'll be set. But it is hard to recommend you pass on St. Brown at 5th round value when Burrow goes in 4 and you're getting him at 6. It's like, I love Burrow. He's a win-a-league player. But if you can get Fields or T. Law and still accomplish this, bro, you might get, I mean, it's a significant difference if you end up getting Burrow in St. Brown versus if you keep Burrow. What wide receiver are you going to get, you know, in relation to that? I don't know. I don't know what wide receiver would be there in round 2, 3. It could work out. Like, let's say Watson was there, you know, but at the same time, it's like, so if you take Burrow, if you keep St. Brown and you take Burrow in 2, if let's say Watson or Olave, let's say Olave's sitting there in round 2, is Olave and Burrow better than St. Brown and Fields or whatever? I mean, it's close. You could argue either side. So I don't think you're going to really screw this one up, to be honest, because you probably do get an underrated wide receiver where you're about to take Joe Burrow in round 2. But, you know, St. Brown at 5 is amazing. Not to mention you get him at 4 the next year and 3 the next year, and he's a top 12 overall player.
Right, and I'm thinking Burrow in 2 because I know dudes are keeping, like someone's keeping Fields. They picked him up last year off the wire, right? So that's a 10th rounder. Some guys using Fields as a 10th rounder. And then someone's keeping Hurts as their 6th rounder. So there's already 2 like top 5 QBs off. So that's why I wanted to take Burrow early and like scheme it out, you know, get my 1st round pick, already have St. Brown locked, and then, you know, Burrow round 2 is, you know, makes no difference. So that's what I was leaning.
I mean, I don't hate it, bro. I mean, I think you could potentially end up having the same exact team. It just really depends on do you think you could steal Burrow away in 2? Would he go, if these guys are early quarterback hungry guys and they're keeping quarterbacks instead of wide receivers, are you going to even see Burrow in 2? I don't know.
I don't think the concern is like, dang, I missed him in 3. You know, someone took him like right before me when I was going to try to wait till 3. But I don't know. I'm leaning towards 2 because, like you said, with Allen and like Diggsy this year, like that's kind of more messy than Cincinnati. And Hurts is off the board, Fields is off the board.
Yeah, and again, for anybody listening, he's not really taking Burrow in 2 necessarily because it's a one-man keeper, so it's technically round 3 by the time you actually are in round 2. But round 3 is fine. If T. Law's there in 4, let's say, 3, which is technically 4. If you can get T. Law in round 3, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm fine with that. That's great. But St. Brown is a guy I want, you know, at that cost for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely top 5. I'm with you this year. And in terms of top 5 wide receivers, let's say you go Chase, JJ, Bijan, right? At 4, you know, the way the ADPs are, I don't really like all those guys that are going. And I'm not saying in mock drafts or now let's rise his ADP, but say draft day, are you hawking Garrett Wilson like 4th overall?
No, because you don't. I mean, Bijan's there every single time at 4.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I've never seen a redraft. Right? I've never seen a redraft league that I'm not in or my community is in where he's gone 4 or before 4. I think people are scared to do that. People are so scared they think they're gonna get made fun of. And I literally take Bijan 1 in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver league that had a flex that could be running back or wide receiver. Hence, I could start 3 RBs and 2 wide receivers. That makes RB so much more valuable. I would take Bijan 1 overall without a hesitation, and I don't care what anybody says, what kind of look I get. He's an absolute smash. But have I taken Garrett Wilson at like 7? You know, I feel like you go any higher than like 6 or 7, you're just, I don't know, you're not. If you can trade down, you got to trade down. If you can't trade down, I don't know. Maybe this is just a league you try CMC or Kelsey in, versus forcing that value up so high that Garrett Wilson can't even meet the expectation, and then you hate Garrett Wilson because he misses 4 games and can't really earn. He gets 12 overall value back for you, even missing 2 games, but you end up losing your league because you're literally asking him to, over deliver, and you're getting too excited about it. Similar to the drafting Burrow too early. You got to be patient. You can't reach. You can't be like Dan the Grim Reacher and just reach too high. Dan's learning. Dan's learning. I've been watching Dan draft. Dan doesn't reach quite as much, but yeah, you gotta take the avenues that are available to you, because guess what? You're gonna draft Garrett Wilson somewhere else, and if you just start forcing him in these places where the door opens, and you can, this is maybe a Kelsey draft for you. You take Kelsey. Maybe that opens the door to a Mahomes earlier draft than normal. You got Kelsey, Mahomes, and somehow Olave falls, and then you got Kenneth Walker that falls, Pacheco, Kamara, and now all of a sudden you got Kelsey, Mahomes, Olave, Walker, Pacheco, Kamara, and you're walking straight to the bank. I mean,
I hear that.
That's a possible team. I mean, look, you could do that. Look at I'll mock it up. You go Kelsey here. You go Mahomes here. Olave falls here with your grandmas all the time. I know he doesn't with us. You get Walker here.
He'll
and Walker,
be up there, but people get scared.
Walker falls to 5 a lot, and then you get. I mean, God, you just keep stacking this up, man. You get Kamara and Pacheco later. You don't even have to. You get Pacheco here, Kamara here, or here, and then this pick, your 5th overall pick. I mean, bro, I've seen London, fall to this. I mean, imagine if you walk out of your grandma league with this team. It happens all the time. There's so many people drafting with. Everyone says my team's tough, Smitty. Yeah, right. There are a lot of teams that everyone thinks their team's tough. You might have 2 or 3 guys in there, 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 guys. But why is Olave's ADP on ESPN across thousands and thousands and thousands of mock drafts sitting in the 3rd round still? It's unbelievable. And you got analysts out there that are like, here's our mock draft we did on ESPN. Whose team's better? And they show the graphic, and it's got Olave in like round 4. And it's like, bro, really? Like you expect me to take this mock draft seriously? You're not even glorifying that you got Olave in round 4, or like, questioning it. Hey guys, here's a mock draft. Olave filled around 4. Might not be accurate, but here it is. It's like, here's our teams. Which one's better? And Olave's sitting there mocked in round 4. It's like, give me a break. Irresponsible.
He's getting 10 plus.
Hang tight. Let's go to Carl. Carl, you're live.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, Smitty? What up?
What's up, Carl?
I received a Dynasty trade, and I can use your help on it.
Yeah, hit me with it.
All right, so they are offering Jonathan Taylor and George Pickens for my Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, and Zach Charbonnet. Which side do you like more?
JT Pickens for who?
Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, and Zach Charbonnet.
And this is redraft or Dynasty, you said?
Dynasty.
Man, I gotta lean this JT Pickens side. I part of me wants to say like, oh, look at the upside, but that's upside. That's not guaranteed. McLaurin's getting older, and honestly, he's got maybe 2 years left before you literally are worried about what he's bringing to the table. I know a lot of people don't understand that or agree with it, but he's not a spring chicken anymore. Watson, I absolutely love, but you know what? Quietly, Pickens has lesser value, lesser guaranteed ceiling, but the ceiling's still there. Like someone could argue if they wanted to, hey, Smitty, I think Pickens could be better than Christian Watson. I don't believe that, but it's certainly in the realm of possibility. So, like, you don't wash this right here, Watson and Pickens, but you say that it's a possible, situation that, like, you won't regret that downgrade necessarily if you go from that. JT's just so much secure, and the trade value for JT in Dynasty is going to blow. Like, I honestly think it blows this out of the water to the average, Joe out there. I'm not saying I don't see the logic in Charbonnet and Watson, but to the average person out there, the layman that doesn't know how good Watson's going to be, you should be giving up, or if you're giving up JT, you should be getting all of that just for JT. And then I don't even know. I would probably do it because Charbonnet could potentially be a monster, but then again, that's at the cost of Walker, and we believe in Walker, so it's not a lock by any means, but I don't think so, bro. I think you're selling yourself way too short. You're selling Pickens too short, and JT, if you're going to trade him, you should be going after a Kenneth Walker, in something. You should be going after I don't know. I mean, like, what I picture you getting for JT would be something along the lines of like Walker and Dotson. You know what I'm saying? Hang tight real quickly. Hold on one second. You are... Yeah, hold on one second. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who's this? I'm going to put you on hold real quick. Okay, Marty, appreciate you. Hang tight real quickly, my guy. I'm gonna finish with Carl and then come back over to you.
Appreciate it.
And then let me hold on one second. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who's this?
How you doing, Smitty?
What's up, Sean? Hang tight for me, and I'll come back for you. Appreciate you. And let me head back over to Carl. Carl, you hear what I'm saying, Carl? I just think that JT, you can get way more, bro. I would go shopping at a different store. This store has got the prices marked up. This store is saying this is on sale when it really wasn't on sale, and they're just putting the same price tag on it. You got to go elsewhere, or you trade.
And you'd rather have the JT side?
Oh, Carl, did I just waste 5 minutes of my life? Carl, I love you, Carl. Yeah, Carl, I'd rather have the JT Pickens side, Carl. I really would.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, hang tight. You don't have to go anywhere. I'd appreciate you staying, and you can contribute to the panel. But yes, yes, Carl, you got a lot more trade value in JT. But I think I think exploring a trade for using JT is smart, because I don't know how much I trust him. I don't want you to walk away from this conversation, Carl, saying Smitty loves JT. I just think the cost of all these pieces here, you're selling them all short. Like going and getting Watson smart, going and getting Charbonnet smart, but this guy's taking advantage of maybe your desire to get Watson and your desire to get Charbonnet, and he's selling these guys as if they're starters. You know what I mean? Whenever you're buying something that's very questionable, you got to ask yourself, is this guy selling these guys as if they're in the lineup? Because that's kind of the way he's selling this. He's selling Charbonnet. He's going to be a top five. He's nothing right now. He's nothing right. He's an upside smash. Alexander Madison on steroids from previous years, but he is absolutely nothing yet. Nothing yet.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
All right, hang tight, Carl. Let me go over to, let's see, who is the 504 caller again? What is your name?
This is Sean.
Sean. Okay. Let's see here. 504, right? Okay, Sean, I got you in the system for future call-ins. What can I do for you, Sean? You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Okay, Smitty, I've been watching your videos, man, and I've been peeping out with your what you call it, your Moon Man crew.
Yeah, the Moon Man, yes, sir.
I have Christian Watson, and I've actively been trying to tear up to like Garrett Wilson. Do you think that's a bad idea? Because I've been like trying to package him with like Alexander Madison or Deshaun Watson to get Garrett Wilson, or should I just hang on to Christian Watson?
I guess it depends on your running back depth, but in Dynasty, I do have a little bit of a fear that Madison's got a short-lived amount of value. He's been in the league a little while. He's still young, but he's there's sometimes if the tread is light, you still are a certain, age. You're still going to potentially hit some of those like injury, roadblocks and such. And I don't know that he's guaranteed anything. And McBride's really good.
That's why I want to get off of him.
Yeah, so
that's why I'm thinking about getting off him.
And And you could be looking at a Christian Watson at the end of the year that's equal to Garrett Wilson, and you're like, crap, but then again, it's like, we're taking Christian Watson in really high in 3-4, and that is high, but he's deserving of it. But
No.
You got to acknowledge.
I'm in a dynasty league.
Yeah,
I'm in a dynasty league, and I already have him on my roster.
I know.
It's not like I drafted him.
Right, I know. I'm saying that Christian Watson's going in 3-4. We're taking him in 3-4 is what I'm saying. So we're taking him very high.
Right, I'm sorry.
But no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But Garrett Wilson, we're taking it like 7, 8, 9, 10 in the dynasty. So, yeah, I mean, bro, if you can afford it, what do your running backs look like? If you can afford it, I'd sling Madison in a trade offer to upgrade to Garrett Wilson all day long. Garrett Wilson had 1,100 yards, and he had no quarterback. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I've got Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson as my starters.
Bro, I'd smash it. You're going to have Garrett Wilson and who's your wide receiver 2 and 3 after that?
CeeDee Lamb and Chris Olave.
Yeah, bro, do it. You got the depth.
And Keenan Allen.
You got the depth to do this. I'd rather give up Keenan Allen than Madison, though, if you can pull that off. Like, hey.
Yeah, nobody wants Keenan,
wants.
so he's a 1-year rental. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely do that trade, bro. You can afford to do it. I love Watson. I love him, but I love Garrett Wilson more. There's a reason.
That's what I was basically wanting to hear what you said, because I know you love Watson. And that's the reason why I've been kind of hesitant on doing it.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Mars man. Everybody on the phone line, hang tight. Here's the Mars man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
Garrett Wilson's on this list for a reason.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
I'm gonna say, bro, I'd smash that because you have the depth to do it. And just one more question. It doesn't really change my mind at all. But who's your third running back if Madison goes elsewhere?
I'll be hurting. It'd be Samaje, Tyler Algier, Chase Brown, or Kendre Miller.
Well, first of all, you're underselling yourself because I like Kendre Miller a lot for the future. Number 2, Samaje Perine's pretty solid for this year, so you're not screwed at all. And then your other player was who?
Chase Brown.
Bro, you're fine.
Tyler
You're fine. Algier, you got that cuff to Bijan. You're golden. Punch it. Punch that trade. Just easy cakewalk. We got a super here by Anthony. Anthony says Pickens is the next Andre Johnson. That's a bold statement, but you know what? He's not going on any laps for that kind of take. We love Pickens here. He's a moon man extraordinaire on this channel, and I don't disagree that that's possible. Would I put that out there? Not necessarily coining him that good yet, but he 100%. You cannot say he can't reach those expectations. So I'm going to Smitty approve your boldness. And, we're going to draft him with a much lower expectation than that. But look, Pickens is, I love him. I love his upside. I think that the ability he showed, the amazing catches, the tenacity, the grit, the chip on his shoulder. This guy wants to be the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. There are some guys that are like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to be great. This guy's literally, he believes he will be the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. And that is going to make Pickens drive and work and get better. And we have no idea where his ceiling really is because Pickett and Pickens didn't really get into as much of a groove as I think they will this year. And, you had this guy potentially in this quarterback carousel, the offensive line. Defense was banged up. Field position was kind of shoddy. This is going to be a much different year for the Steelers, and they'll be in better field position. He'll live in the red zone more, and that's going to create these amazing touchdown catches. Pickens could have 2 of the top 15 highlight reel catches in 2023. And that says something. That's a playmaker. That's a guy that a team's going to want the football in his hands. He could literally have 2 of the top 15 highlight reels for wide receiver catches in 2023. That's how good Pickens is. And so I love that take. Hang tight, callers. I'm going to go over to the other guy that called in. He might have hung up. No, 151 caller. Who are you? What's your name, bro? Or the 518? Sorry, 518.
518. That's me, Marty.
Marty, what's up, Marty?
Hey, man. I want to get your opinion on Calvin Ridley. Should I get him and then do a T-Law stack? Maybe pick up Engram. The trifecta. What are you thinking about that?
I mean, bro, is this best ball? Because if it's not best ball, there's no advantage to stacking. There's none. The only advantage of stacking, I guess, at all would be that you're picking a potent offense that's more likely to score big than it is to leave you hanging. But at the same time, if let's say you take even Burrow in a redraft, not best ball in a redraft, you're looking at, you know, what happens if they all crap the bed in 1 week. You know, you're gonna potentially tank, and it's not good to stack multiple players on the same team. Stacking like Chase and Burrow, I do it all day long. And I prefer to do it. I prefer to do it just for fun. Just for fun. But T-Law and Ridley, I don't mind that at all, because that's a high potent situation. But like getting the tripod going, I don't know. I don't hate it, but it depends on cost of entry. Let me give you an example. Okay. So here's where it would get like tricky. If you were stacking in redraft, again, we're not talking best ball, we're talking redraft, and you were to go, let's say, in round number 1 and get a certain player from one team, in round number 3, you get another player from that same team. Round number 4, you get another player from that same team. Now all of a sudden, you've got 3 like high cost assets on your team tied to one team, and so if that team does bad, this trio does bad, and you only have this guy right here to support you, this guy right here to support you, this guy right here to support you. So it does depend on what players we're talking about. When we talk about T-Law, Ridley, and Ingram, Ingram's ADP is super late. I want to say Ingram is going like in the, I don't know, like near double digits sometimes. Where did you draft Ingram?
Yeah.
Or where
I have not yet. I'm just thinking about my strategy here.
Yeah. Where are you seeing Ingram?
Late and then try to pick up some big dogs on the way, you know?
Yeah. Where are you seeing Ingram?
Probably, you know, down like you said, double digits, man.
Okay, so let's just call it. Let me just put this on the board here. Let me make these rounds a little bit. So
you can always go with Kincaid if he's there as well, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So, but let me show you the point of what I'm saying here. So if you're drafting T-Law, you're taking him in what, 6 or 7, right? Let's call it 6. Ridley, you're taking in round 4 or 5, preferably 5, but he does go in round 4. And this is 9, 10. Let's just say you're taking Ingram in 9 or 10. You have your tripod tied to the 4th round, 6th round, and 9th round. So let's say the tripod does bad for you 1 week. What happens? Not a big deal, bro. You got a 1st rounder, you got a 2nd rounder, you got a 3rd rounder, and a 5th rounder to support you. So when someone says don't take 3 players from one team, they really need to ask some qualifying questions as to how it's really going to impact you.
Yeah.
This particular stack doesn't impact you. You got a 1st rounder, 2nd rounder, 3rd rounder, 5th rounder to support if the Ridley, T-Law, and Ingram crap the bed. You know what I'm saying? So it really, really depends on where you're drafting them.
Appreciate that, Smitty.
All right. Let's go back over to let's see who's sitting here on the phone line. That's Nick. Nick, what else you got, Nick? Nick,
you're on fire,
Nick,
man.
You what?
You're on fire right now.
Thank you. Literally, right here. It's hot. This is it's burning up.
That's right, baby.
Hey, but real quickly, Nick, before we continue that fire, this guy right here trying to throw some cold bath water on the show right here. Kevin Bernard says Bijan, and Kevin's a good guy. I don't want people to clown on Kevin. Kevin's been here for a while. This isn't a troll by any means. Kevin's a legit dude here. He's been here for a while, like Kevin to the moon before I roast him real quickly. But Kevin says that Bijan is going to be a bust. And Kevin, in front of everybody right now, everyone's going to witness this, unfortunately. And you know you're my boy, Blue, but I'm taking away your Bijan card.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
And I'm not giving it back. I don't care if you come crawling in here in week 3 saying Smitty, Bijan's amazing, I'm back on board. No.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked, and I'm not giving it back. You put your receipt on screen here. And honestly, you want to drop a $50 hauler on the big board above my head here, and you do a Bijan's going to bust $50 hauler, and you win that, you probably win the entire board. Because no one believes this to be true at this moment in time but you, Kevin. But Kevin, we appreciate you, and we appreciate your service in keeping Bijan at like 5 or 6 instead of 3 or 4. You know, it helps. Every little bit helps. Okay, Nick, you're up.
All right. Pick 2 to keep out of these guys. Lamb, Diggs, Olave, Walker, and Barkley.
Okay, hold on. Let me write this down. Lamb, Diggs, Olave, and Barkley?
Yep, and Walker.
And are there rounds attached to these guys?
It'd be first 2.
But okay, so no matter what, it's first and second. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yep.
Yeah, Diggs, Lamb, Olave, Barkley, Walker. Let's go through the very, very simple exercise that everybody should deploy when they're asking themselves this question. Who's getting drafted first out of all these guys? And the answer to that is probably, I would guess, probably Lamb. If it's keeper, there's a little bit less value in Diggs than if it was redraft. Barkley is up there. Walker is really interesting, but I think you can draft him back the easiest. So I hate to do that. I hate to draw a line through Walker. I love him, but I think you can get him back the easiest. So that tells you he's a guy to drop because your first round, you probably can draft him. You know, so Barks, definitely leaning Barkley here a little bit. Olave to me is tough to pass on because I think in future years he vaults to the top of this. So you're trying to be like predictive with it, but at the same time, can you draft him back? But you can't probably draft back everybody, so you got to like decide. Diggs still has good 1-year value.
And we could keep him 2 years. So if I kept Olave, I could keep him like for 2 more years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If it's me, I don't know what the chat thinks. The chat can drop their 2 cents, but I believe the chat might say Barkley and guys, drop your vote. Barkley and Lamb. I so badly want to lean Olave, but you could probably draft him back. Part of me thinks you could draft Olave back with your next round, which would be like the 3rd round, which is round 1.
Exactly.
So you're going to draft him back in the first, potential, unless somebody's there that's better. And then your 4th rounder, you'd be able to draft Walker back, and then you could keep, like these 2, Barkley and Lamb or something, or Diggs and Barkley. You could also go with 2 wide receivers and try and you could go Diggs and Lamb even. You could go. That's so tough. These are really, really close. You put yourself in a bind. Let's see what people say. Lamb. The safe bet is Barkley. Diggs says DNB. I think the average person would probably say Diggs and Barkley.
That's the stock pick.
Yeah,
right.
That's definitely the stock answer. But I don't disagree with that in that there's potentially 1 more year where you want to keep Diggs, but because he's so volatile right now, honestly,
that's the thing.
I'd probably rather go Lamb and Barkley.
And the thing is, all these guys, they were staples until all the off-season stuff with the coach change or the offensive change at Cowboys, and then Diggsy doing this, and then Barkley holding that. You know what I mean? I was confident, and then it's just like, oh man.
And the chat's coming through. Barkley's a safe bet, says Nolan. Barks and Diggs says NB and DNB, like I said earlier. Barks and Diggs says BK. But then we start rolling, and Ghost says Lamb and Barkley. Lamb and Barkley from Ryan. Lamb and Dak. Lamb and Barkley. Lamb. So I think Lamb's getting a consensus vote, but I would go Barkley, bro. Barkley's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big, big year. Barkley's pissed off right now, and I don't want him to hold out too long, though. If he holds out too long, I'm going to be – the thing is he's holding out. He's holding out until July 17. We're almost there. He's working out on his own. He's staying fit. If he goes past July 17, which I don't think he will, because he'll be forced to be on a 1-year contract. His franchise tag will be signed no matter what, whether he actually signs it or not. It'll become his contract on July 17. And if he holds out, he's missing tons of money, bro. And I don't think he's going to do that. I know he wants to fight for running backs and the principle of it all, but I don't think when push comes to shove, Barkley's going to sit out past that time where he gets fined. He's not getting fined right now because he's not under contract. He has not signed his tender, which means he's not under contract. That's why he's getting away with holding out right now, because he's technically not holding out. He's just refusing to sign his offer. And the Giants could potentially rescind it and let him hit free agency, but we don't think that's going to happen. I mean, why would they do that at this point? But it's possible. It could happen. But Barkley's probably going to be fine if he holds out. When do you have to make this decision? After July 17, hopefully?
Yeah, exactly, right. It's right before, like a week or two before the draft.
Yeah, we'll know.
Like
so you'll know. If he's still holding out, then you can go wide receiver.
I like that. Smitty, do you still have the get Lamb button? Could I get Lamb?
You want to get Lambed? I can lamb you. Yeah, hold on. Let me get you lambed.
Get lambed.
There you go, bros. We haven't done that in a while, so I appreciate you. You got christened. You are Saint Lambed. Appreciate you. We'll call you Saint Nick. Saint Nick, who got Saint Lambed. Appreciate you. All right, hang tight. Ninja, you're live. Ninja, you're up.
Hey, what's up, Smitty? I love George Pickens. I think he's going to be a dog. I think you're totally right with having him on the Moon Man list. I'm just not a fan of Kenny Pickett, my man. I think he threw 7 touchdowns last season in 13 games and threw 9 interceptions. He's got small hands. He's turnover prone. Matt Canada is a bad OC. He's been outside of the top 20 for his first 2 years as OC for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can easily see the Steelers being 4th place in the division, where you have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson, who I think had an outlier year last year. I don't think it looks too good for the Steelers. The only player I would want is George Pickens.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so, but addressing that, I mean, you're almost hitting 2 things at once here. So you're making a statement about Pickett, but you don't think it affects Pickens because they're throwing from behind, or what's your take on that? So you like him because there's enough footballs to go around.
I mean, I do like that the defense is back, which kind of worries me a little bit with Pickens, because that means they'll have closer games and it won't be really shootouts because the defense is pretty stout for the Steelers. So, but if Pickett is kind of causing them to lose, then I could see a bunch of like garbage time points, and Pickens was already a dog. Like, he went over 800 yards, even though Pickett was a terrible quarterback and he had tremendous air yards. So, despite the scenario, I think just Pickens is that good of a player despite the QB, but I'm not a fan of
the one thing I'd caution you against, though, not saying that you're not going to be right on this, or that I'm not super sold on Pickett to a point where like I'm drafting him to start on my teams, but the one thing you want to keep in mind, though, is like you've only seen a very, very small amount of Pickett. You haven't really seen him unleash, because these guys, especially with Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying he's Jalen Hurts at all. I'm not predicting huge things out of Pickens, but I think to judge him too early when he had offensive line issues, the defense was banged up, the field position was awful. He was, late getting in there. He didn't get to practice as a starter in the offseason. There's so many variables involved that I think I'd caution away from thinking he's going to be awful. I really don't think I think he's going to be really, really good. I don't know how great he'll become. I think that I wouldn't even say that he couldn't become top 10, eventually or something, but he's certainly not in my top 10. I don't think he'll be top 10, but I certainly wouldn't bet on it because, Pickett. I don't know. I think you got to be a little more open-minded to the situation, and the fact that we see quarterbacks mature at the next level all the time. I can't fault you for looking at a player and saying he's not going to be it. Like I do the same thing with Mac Jones. So I can't really be extra critical of your take, in that I don't see Mac Jones developing, and you could say the same thing to me. He's got to have time. The only difference is, though, Mac Jones doesn't have wide receivers. This guy's got a guy that I've got on the Moon Man list. This guy's got a tight end that's arguably one of the most underrated top 10 fantasy guys. We know he's better than top 10. They brought in another tight end that's 6'7". He's a monster. So the touchdown red zone potential for the Steelers with Najee Harris probably healthy this year, improved offensive line, amazing coach every year. Defense is going to be they're going to be a dog type defense. This is going to be, so Pickett's going to naturally be in good field position. So do I think he's got Geno Smith potential? And that's not knocking him. Geno was like sneaky good. Like, could I see him being that like 11 to 14 guy this year? And that's enough to not even like bring him up as a talking point of Pickens. Like, this is you talk to Pickens and you say you don't like Pickett. And I'm not necessarily, like I said, trashing that take, but I mean, I don't know. I think Pickett is good for Pickens. I don't think you want a different quarterback back there.
Oh, I'm trashing that take. Who is that talking anyways?
That was Ninja. Here comes Ron Navy. He didn't like that.
Ninja. Ninja's like the little boy that don't watch football. Okay? He says, "Oh, he threw 9 interceptions." Well, what about the 5 between week 10 and week 18 that he threw 5 touchdowns to 1 interception? That's the only interception he threw. What about that, Mr. Small Hands, Mr. Small Brain? Come on now.
Hey man,
one week
doesn't win.
He's a rookie quarterback. 1 week from week 10 to week 18
doesn't make a season, dude.
Spot on.
1 week
Who's your
doesn't
team?
win you a
Who is
season,
your
dude.
Come on, tell me your team. Who's your team?
Wait, what? Okay, so I'm guessing you're a
Cleveland?
Steelers fan because you're trying to ask me what my team is.
Cleveland.
I'm looking at just the facts here. Hey, Ron,
I'm looking
let me
at the
speak.
facts.
I am looking at the facts.
All right, hey,
I'm looking
hey.
at the
facts. You would see from week 10 to week 18, and he's a rookie
Hey, I'm
quarterback.
happy I triggered you, man, because you're interrupting me while I'm trying to give you answers.
You know what? He was
Dude,
one of
Kenny
the top
Pickett
quarterbacks.
only threw for 300 yards one time, man. Only threw for 300 yards one time, and he threw more interceptions than touchdowns.
So what?
So what, dude? The guy doesn't have the measurables.
You brought up the fact that he
what
threw
looks
9
to be an elite
interceptions.
dude.
He threw 9 interceptions. All 8 of those were at the beginning of the year when he's first come. He didn't even start the year.
That's not true. Week 16, he threw an interception. And he couldn't even
He threw one
he couldn't even
interception.
throw for more than one.
That's the one
Dude,
interception
he couldn't
threw.
even throw for.
Name another
He
interception
couldn't even throw for
threw
300
week
yards.
10,
Okay.
week 18.
Ron
Come
Navy,
on.
dude. Ron Navy.
Come on, Ninja. Name
Okay,
one
sorry. Hey, man, I'm sorry. I'm
interception
sorry.
Okay,
to
hey,
be a Steelers
hey,
fan,
hold
my
on.
dude. I'm
Hold
sorry
on, hold
to
on.
be a Steelers fan.
Hold on.
But Matt
Stick to the
Canada
facts.
has
Stick to
produced
the
an
facts.
outside of the top
Stick to
20
the
All right, hey,
offense
hey.
for you guys.
Hey, hold on. Hold on.
I am sticking to the facts.
Okay,
dude.
guys, I'm gonna hang up on both of you. I'm gonna hang up on both of you. I'm gonna hang up on both of you.
And you are saying that he threw 9 interceptions. Well, you didn't mention that he threw 1 interception in his last.
Okay,
8
Ron,
games.
hold on. I want to rotate. I want to rotate back and forth.
Come
Guys, hold on. Ron, hold on.
No.
Hold on.
He comes in here and he bullshits these facts. Of course, he's a rookie quarterback, but look how he ended the year.
All right, Ron,
Come
hold on.
Get real.
Let's go to Ninja. Ninja, you have 30 seconds uninterrupted. Ron, let him talk, and then Ninja, you got to let Ron talk. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock here, uninterrupted. Tell me in 30 seconds any rebuttals you have. Go.
Okay. Any rebuttals that I have, here we go. Those last 5 games where you're saying he threw 5 touchdowns and 1 interception, he couldn't even throw above 200 yards except one game, and he ended up throwing an interception in that game. So the guy has finished most of the time outside the top 20. His offensive coordinator for 2 years in a row with different sets of quarterbacks has shown that he can't produce a top 20 offense. So, and the defense is going to be better, so that doesn't mean they're going to be in as many shootouts. They're not going to ask Pickett to keep throwing the ball.
1.
So how can you be bullish on the passing?
Okay.
Of course you would take that take. Of course you would take
Ron.
take because who was right before Pickett? Oh, that was who? Trubisky came in and he played at the beginning of the year. Did he or did he not? Yes, he did. And who were we replacing before then? Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, who didn't thrive under that offense.
10 seconds.
So instead of stepping back and saying, oh, well, here's a rookie quarterback
2 seconds.
who's made improvements all year long. and especially at the end of the year, and he didn't even start.
Okay, Ninja.
Okay,
hold on.
You're dishing Canada. And you don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, Ninja, you get 30 seconds, then Ron gets a final 30 seconds. Ninja, go with your final 30 seconds, then I'm going to close this out. Go, Ninja.
Okay, my final 30 seconds. He only threw for over 30 pass attempts once in those final 5 games. They gave him as many pass attempts earlier in the season, and then he was throwing a bunch of interceptions. So they lessened the pass attempts as the season went along. And his accuracy was terrible. The guy was not a good rookie quarterback. I'm sorry. He's small hands Pickett. He wasn't even the most athletic quarterback in his class, and he got picked in the first round.
3,
I don't have
2,
faith in this guy.
1. Ron, your final 30 seconds. Go.
Nah. I'm done talking to this idiot because he don't got his facts straight. He didn't even see him. He didn't even watch him at the end of the year. That's the whole thing.
Be nice to him, Ron. Be nice to him, Ron.
The game against Baltimore, I got 30 seconds, right? It's not open yet. So the game against Baltimore, you even had Chris Collinsworth calling him. If that would have been a Mahomes when he threw the pass to Najee, we would be putting him in the Hall of Fame right now. He compared him to Mahomes. So don't give me this garbage that you
want to know how many times Chris Collinsworth has said a pass is Mahomes-esque by a terrible quarterback? Like, you're going to trust Chris Collinsworth? Are you serious?
He's a commentator. And it was a pretty pass.
You times he said that a quarterback like Geno Smith
you keep talking out your bunghole. You don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Dude, I'm giving you actual numbers. I'm not hearing any numbers from your end, man.
You're not giving me facts. I don't care if he throws 200 or 300 or 100 yards.
His pass attempts went less as the year went on.
He still threw. He brought them back to a winning season. He still threw 5 touchdowns to 1 interception from week 10 to week 18. That's facts.
Hey man, I know you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm sorry if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
My facts matter. You're not even looking at the facts.
I am. I'm telling you the numbers, man. Look at the fucking numbers.
Guy who's a rookie quarterback.
Yo, Smitty, I'm sorry, man. I'd rather talk to you, man, because this guy is trying to just overlap everything that I'm saying and calling
it is
name calling. No professionalism from Ron.
Better all year long, and he's a rookie quarterback. It's like you expect a rookie quarterback to come out first year and throw for 5,000 yards. That's what you're saying. That's
I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting that. What I'm expecting from
you don't evaluate them from the aspect that they're a rookie quarterback just starting out in the league and they're going to have ups and downs. No, that's not how you do your evaluation. He didn't have 300 yards.
I do.
He had 9 interceptions. No, you don't. No, you don't, because if you did, you would have said, well, at the end of the year, he was doing really good. He threw five touchdowns, only 1 interception. And he brought him back to the last.
They tried to manage him. They were scared he was going to be turnover heavy. If they gave him any more than 30 pass attempts.
Even shows your bias against him. Small hands. Hands don't mean crap, dude. So what? So does that mean Young can't be a good quarterback because he's only 5'2"? Because he's not
got
that
bigger
tall,
hands
so
than Pickett. He's got bigger hands than Pickett.
He played in Pittsburgh, dude. He played college football. He threw for over 4,000 yards and 41 touchdowns in his last year. For over 4,000 yards and 41 touchdowns playing in Pittsburgh.
You can't judge a quarterback based on college production. You can't judge an NFL quarterback based. Johnny Manziel had a great college record, dude.
All right, hey, let me hold on.
I didn't know I would end up talking to a Steelers fan. I just want to talk to somebody who wouldn't name call me and just have a professional conversation.
All right, well, hold on, Ninja. Hang tight real quick. Ron, let me just reel this in a little. Ron, hold on. Ron,
when you started skewing him.
I know, Ron, hold on, though.
You started talking all your crap about him.
Ron, hold on, though.
Factual. You were just talking negative.
Ron, you got to, like Travis said, respect the general loose rules of debating. Like, just letting, you can go back and forth, definitely. But we don't need to call each other idiots over a stance. Even if you think his stance is an idiotic stance, we don't need to call each other idiots. But I also feel like, we can have this back and forth debate. We just have to have a little control where if I say stop, you guys got to stop so that I can let you each talk and the audience can actually watch a show. So hang tight. Let's see what Scared Scott makes of all this, because I don't know why, but for some reason I have a feeling he's got something relevant to bring up. Scott, you've got literally 4 minutes before you run out of time on this call anyway, because I can only take so much of you. No offense, but you get 4 minutes every time you call, and then I hang up on you. Go ahead.
I was listening to that, and Ninja was probably was kind of winning that. But as I look at the stats, 6 of Pickett's interceptions came in 2 games. So the jury's still out. I don't think he's good, but and I think they're going to. I think the only receiver that's worth it's a coin flip between the two. But to me, you have to take the last 2 redrafts I've just done. They've gone within a half round of.
Come on, Scott, get to the point, pal. It's like the last couple of days is like dragging teeth with you.
I think it's out on Pickett. I think you go to Deontay Johnson because of 147 receptions, and I'm out.
All right. Well, Scott, I appreciate
147 targets,
whatever that was.
Rather.
Yeah, I think Pickens for me. Look, Deontay Johnson, I'm not saying he doesn't have abilities and talents, but he's got brick hands. He's definitely contingent on getting a ton of targets so that those drops and everything that he brings to the table can be useful at a grand scale. Pickett to Pickens seems to be the connection, and for that reason, I don't want Deontay. I think people are going to draft him too high. They drafted him too high last year. People were taking him in the 3rd round, bro, like clockwork last year. It was ridiculous. Pickens has that dog in him. And Ninja, back to the point that you made before you went down this road, I knew it was going to go this direction. I knew the phone call was coming in. I knew Ron was calling in. And Ninja, you just got to understand that Ron's very, very temperamental and very, very biasly protective. In some ways good, in some ways bad, in some ways objective, in some ways not objective. No offense, Ron. Sometimes you are very objective with it, sometimes you aren't, and that's good. But that comes with the passion of a fan. You are touching a very soft spot for Ron, and so he's going to come in strong. Now, I do think these things can get out of hand. I actually enjoy them. I think most of the audience does as well. But I think some names like Bunghole and Idiot were thrown around. I actually thoroughly enjoyed them. Ninja, I'm sorry if it wasn't a good experience for you, but this is a debating panel kind of show. And, if you call in during the one-on-one segment, you probably won't get this, but you call in during the open panel, bro, anything can happen on this show. That's for sure.
I hear you.
But I will say that I don't think you're necessarily crazy for your take. I just think that you need to have maybe a little bit more open-mindedness to Pickett's upside, given that it's not Mac Jones' situation. This is an amazing defense. This is a much improved offensive line and a rather good receiving arsenal if you include Najee, who can pull in some passes, and Pickens, and if you like Deontay, and Freiermuth, and then you got Darnell Washington. There's a lot more reason to say that this guy slips into better numbers and meets expectations a little bit more than you think. That's all I'm saying, is keep an open mind, especially if you like Pickens. And what are you really asking for? This guy to fail, or expect this guy to fail? Or do you think he'll be good enough to deliver and not get replaced? Or because honestly, if you like Pickens, the connection between the two is what you want. Like Pickett's going to deliver enough that Pickens is going to eat. And I don't think you want some sort of like swap out later, so I don't know what your expectation level is for him. If he's going to be, maybe you just don't love him in fantasy and that's kind of what you're going at. I don't know.
No, yeah, exactly. I'm going as it's kind of a combo of both. I just see a division here where you have Joe Burrow and a pretty good Cincinnati Bengals. That's, they've been to the Super Bowl before and the AFC Championship in a Super Bowl hangover year. And I think Joe Burrow might have his best season this season. Lamar Jackson just got paid and a bunch of weapons, and they're going to be more pass heavy. I think they have I don't know if they have a better defense than the Steelers. I think they could split with the Ravens, the Steelers and the Ravens. They're always a strong divisional face-off. And then the Cleveland Browns, that's the real one. If Deshaun Watson is actually going to improve, then I have a hard time seeing Kenny Pickett being above any of those 3 QBs or those teams
I think
you know.
So first of all, I just want to acknowledge that Scott's timer.
Cleveland bias here. I
Scott,
see how it is. Did you know each one of those teams? None of the teams swept each other last year. You know, every single game was split. You know.
Do you know that each one of the quarterbacks in that division has been a top 10 quarterback in their career, and a possible MVP?
You're right.
And possible MVP
nominations.
I don't think Kenny Pickett has that in his range of outcomes.
Who was last year? Except for rookie Pickett, who was last year. But I can guarantee you, Joe Burrow was not a top 10 quarterback his first year.
He was way better than Pickett in his rookie year, though.
Herbert was. Herbert came out. He was the best rookie quarterback we saw in ages come out.
Hey, real quickly. Let's go.
Most of the time, rookies struggle their first year. Do you not admit that? Do you not admit that most of the time rookies quarterbacks struggle their first year? How many don't?
I do agree, but I don't see.
Well, then give them the benefit of the doubt.
Has a full
season, why I got
mad
at you, Ninja, is because you came in and you said he threw 9 interceptions. He did this, but you failed to say that. You know what? From week 10 to week 18, he threw 5 interceptions, brought his team back for the win and a winning season, and only threw 1 interception in the last part of the season.
Exactly, but
in
see,
the last
in a good okay.
And
I got my retort for this.
That shows improvement. He improved all year long.
How big are Kenny Pickett's hands? How big are Kenny Pickett's hands?
Like 8 inches or something.
No, they're 9 something. Come on, man. They're not.
No. They're 8. Let me check it out. They're like 8 and a half inches.
They're 9. They're 8. He said he increased 8 1/2 inches. Combined 8 5/8. 8 5/8. Okay.
His hands will grow.
So here.
Okay, but regardless.
Well, hold on. I just measure. Okay. I measure my hands here just to make sure. So I'm about 9. I mean, if we go to the board, like the borders, 9 3.
Even for he has bigger hands.
9 3/4.
He didn't fumble the ball. He had no problem. He's played in inclement weather. His hand size has nothing to do with it. That's just like saying someone.
I think I got bigger hands than Joe Burrow. I'm in good company.
Okay,
I'm in good
All
company.
Right.
That's what I mean. You're bringing up his hand size, and his hands have
I'm
nothing.
just excited. Joe Burrow and I are in like the same.
I don't want to talk about hand size. Just I have a response to how he got better near the. I have a response of how he got better near the end of the season because you keep bringing that up. That near the end of the season he got better. It's when they decided to stop giving him plus 30 pass attempts a game that he started to be a little bit more efficient. But he still couldn't throw over 2 touchdowns or over 300 yards in a game. That's not good fantasy wise. I'm sorry. He
Look
may
at
be
these
good
mitts.
in football and
Catcher's
real life
right
football for what the Steelers need, but
rookie year. Come on, Ninja. It was a rookie year. All rookies have up and downs. What you look at for a rookie
you see
Mike Tomlin catcher's glove.
You look to see at their progress. You look to see how they are developing over the year. And
I love that he didn't turn over the ball. I love that he didn't turn over the ball as much, but you can't tell me in a Mike Tomlin team that loves to run the ball and loves playing defense that Kenny Pickett is going to be an amazing fantasy football quarterback. He may be great in real life football for what they need.
Going to be an amazing. Did I say that Pickett's going to be an amazing fantasy quarterback?
We're on a fantasy football show here. That's the whole reason for my take. It's in a fantasy football perspective.
No, you came in and you said because Pickett can't play and this and that, Steelers are going to end up in the fourth. In fourth place.
Well, I apologize for coming on so hard. I'm talking in a fantasy football perspective.
You said the only player I'll take on that team is Pickens, let alone Najee's going to have a fantastic year this year.
We don't know that. Can he stay healthy for a full year?
Yeah, that was his first time he's only been in the league 3 years. He had a Liz Frank injury, and by the end of the year, he was smashing it. He had 7 touchdowns in the last part of the year. look at how he did. He was running over people. He was
So if
jumping over
Najee is
people.
going to do well,
Hey.
how is Kenny Pickett going to do well?
Okay,
since Najee is doing so well?
let's do a little exercise right here. Let's go over to Scuba. Or let's go to Okafor. Let's go to Okafor then Scuba Steve. Okafor, before you ask your question, I would like you to rank the AFC North quarterbacks: Burrow, Lamar, Pickett, and Deshaun Watson, and give me like a some sort of like indication as to how far apart they are. Like Burrow space, Lamar space, Deshaun Watson space Pickett, or if you put Pickett in. So I have a feeling you're going to say you're a Cleveland fan, right, Okafor?
Oh, Cleveland.
Yeah.
No, I'm a New York Jets, man.
That's right. Okay.
After Garrett Wilson in my dynasty league.
So give me
Shut
your
up, baby. Let's go.
give me your yeah. I should put this on a shirt. give me your QB ranking in the AFC North, pal.
All right. So the way things go right now, Burrow, Lamar, who's going to be at the top? Is this how I project it, or like?
Oh, Okafor, it's like it's like pulling teeth from you. This is pretty simple. Give me Burrow, Lamar, Pickett, and Deshaun Watson in terms of fantasy value, and give me an indication as to how far apart they are when you start listing them off. Like Burrow, Lamar close by.
Fantasy value?
Yeah, go.
Okay. Let me go with Lamar at 10. This is going to be like on a scale from like 0 to 10.
Okay, 10 out of 10.
I'm going to go with Lamar. Yeah.
Okay.
Lamar 10 out of 10. Burrow 9 out of 10. Watson 7.5, 8 out of 10. And then Pickett. Oh, Jesus.
Betting on the come, are you? Watson hasn't proven anything.
Go ahead. Come on, Okafor. It's like pulling teeth.
Pickett, I'm going to have to give this guy like is this off projections or based off like...
Okafor, just spit
like
it
what I
out,
expect?
bro. Take it forever.
He just wants to know what you...
Hold on. Hold on. This is coming season, right?
Come on, Okafor.
2023, right?
3?
I said, is it 2023? Is that what we're saying? Upcoming season?
I mean, Okafor, you've already given these other guys scores. Are you going to have to redo those now?
I need to know. I need to know what I'm doing with Pickett. I need to know if I'm burying
2023
him or if I'm giving him
2023 fantasy football.
All right. I'm going to have to give Pickett like a... We'll have to drop like a hot 6, 5.
I was like pulling teeth. Okay, let me go to Scuba Steve real quick and just get his ranking. Scuba, tell me your ranking of these quarterbacks. Try and be a little quicker than Okafor on the jump here.
All right, Joe Burrow 1, Lamar Jackson 2, Deshaun Watson 3, and Kenny Pickett 4.
Okay. Well, you did it differently, but that's okay. I thought you were ranking. Now, I have a beef with Okafor. The fact that you rank out of a 10, 1 out of 10, 10 being amazing, you gave Lamar Jackson a 10, you gave Joe Burrow a 9. That's almost take a lap material. What quantifies that, pal? Where do you get off putting Lamar Jackson at a 10 out of 10, given the fact that he's busted for 3 straight years in a row, and Joseph cigar-smoking Burrow is on his way to the top, young man?
Hey, this upcoming season. I'm projecting like an MVP type Lamar to return. I'm projecting that. That's what I see coming. Okay. And if he does that, I mean,
Okafor, what other question you have?
He runs broad design.
What question did you call in about? Because this is going nowhere.
So I got
Lamar could have every season.
Go ahead, Okafor. What was your question?
All right. So I got this trade on the table. I'm a contending team, I'd like to think. With the Superflex League, I was offered a 2024 first, which I anticipate is going to be a late one, for Travis Kelce and 2 2024 seconds, which I assume we're going to be late.
So
Kelsey.
You're trading Kelsey away for you said late first rounder? No.
That's what I'd expect the pick to be. Of course, things could bounce a different direction, but I would guess the pick would be a late 2024 first.
No way, bro. No way.
Motion detected at the front door.
No way, bro.
Going for the chip. Squeezing that last year out of Kelsey, a year or two.
I just think you could get more, a mid or late first rounder. Do you know that, and granted, I think I took a little bit advantage of Spacula on the trade, but Spacula, a longtime follower, called up, I got 3 first rounders for Travis Kelsey live on the show. He'd been after Kelsey for a long time, and I got 3 first rounders for Kelsey. One of which could be a top 3 pick this coming up 2024. But you got to get more. Late first rounder, you don't even have a shot at an early first rounder. No, thank you. I'd ride Kelsey for 2 more years on that potential risk of him dropping off at some point versus selling low. A mid first? What's a mid first? What's number 10 overall get you right now in a draft? Right now, what's number 10 get you?
For in 2024?
No, 2023. Name a couple players you draft at 9 and 10 overall. Are those guys that are going to be difference makers for your team?
Kincaid, maybe.
So you can't
I think
trade.
Kincaid might be around there.
You can't trade Kelsey for that kind of pick. You got to keep Kelsey.
The thing is, I've looked at the players coming in next year, and of course, I know they still have a college season before you could make a true evaluation. But it's looking pretty good. Up until the top 10 is looking pretty decent, and it's a 10-team league. So,
no thanks, bro. I'm not even going near that one. No way I would do that. No way whatsoever. Scuba Steve, what's your question that you called in about, pal? You're live.
Before I get into that, I have a question. Might as well ask with Ron Navy on the line. It would be about the Steelers. How did you feel? I guess how he and how you, Smitty, would feel about Jalen Warren as a stash. So I know last year he was getting talked up like he could overtake that job from Najee Harris because it looked like he was hurt with the Liz Frank injury. But then towards the end of the season, it looked like I think it was Jalen Warren that ended up getting hurt, and Najee ended up looking pretty good. So I guess. What are you on him on 20 for this upcoming season? Are you somebody that you still want to?
I'll let Ron answer this after I just tell you that there's no way the expectation is that he's the starter this year. But if let's say the expectation is that they want to rotate them in a way that makes sense, a way that keeps Najee healthy. He may still be. We don't know because they lied to us. The entire news industry was kept in the dark on Najee's foot. He had a Liz Frank injury that we didn't hear about until he was supposedly healed from it or relatively close to healed from it. So then we didn't even know how healed he was from it. And then he seemed to, re-injure it and it wasn't necessarily 100%. So we can't really truly know where he's at, but I imagine he's probably very likely to be healthy unless he suffered some other injury. And again, I have no trust with what we're going to hear, I guess, coming out of Pittsburgh. But I would say that the expectation is that they're going to rotate them to the tune of Jalen Warren being borderline flex worthy for a team, or maybe even running back too worthy for a team that has been decimated with injuries or has got going through bye week, bye Mageddon. You got all your players on a bye week, and you go ahead and you plug a Jalen Warren in for a week, something like that. But if Najee went down, and so that means he's getting touches, you know what I mean? You don't know when he's going to get that touchdown and 30 yards receiving or 25 yards rushing and 20 yards receiving, but he's capable of getting 50 total yards and a touchdown every 5th week or every 4th week, and that makes him flex worthy. Now, do I think he has a shot of taking Najee's job? Not if Najee's healthy, but if Najee gets injured and he's out for let's say a significant amount of time, and Jalen Warren provides a spark and they can throw to him, and he does really well. Could Najee come back to like a total 50-50 timeshare? Sure. I just don't think he'll replace him this year. But Najee's got to deliver, in order to hold him off from maybe getting more and more work to like a 50-50 divide. But I think he's definitely got upside. He's definitely a great must cuff for Najee owners. And he's got, I would call Jaylen Warren similar to Chase Brown. Similar to, I would say, there are several running backs that fall into this category, like Tank Bigsby. Like Tank Bigsby will probably get the same amount of like work as a Jaylen Warren in a sense. Like Tank Bigsby's going to get different work, but they're both going to be flex worthy, like in a bind. And that's good. That's a good running back to throw on your roster, but he's at least got the potential if he got in there to do well. But I wouldn't expect anything is all I'm saying, because, they're hoping Najee's healthy, and Najee's a workhorse for sure. He needs a lot of volume to get on his horse and get going. He does. He needs a lot of work. He doesn't need 10 carries. He needs like 15. Problem is that puts him in a susceptible position to get hurt. Maybe. We don't know. Maybe he proves that wrong. Maybe he's still got a story to tell. He's still very young. Maybe he just got unlucky. We'll have to find out. I do know that I'm not banking on Najee any higher than like 4th round, where I feel like he becomes a steal. My line in the sand for Najee flips into like a steal territory in round 4. But I find myself drafting a lot of other players in round 3. Like I'll take Gibbs early in 3 before I draft Najee in 4. But it doesn't mean I hate Najee. It just means I want to protect myself, because I feel like Jaylen Warren is a little bit of a threat, and Najee's injury concern hopefully is behind us. But that feels pretty packaged in 4th round value. Like there was a draft that I did on the weeklies. I think you guys saw this team that I drafted. It's absolutely a smash. And it's been updated. Yeah. I got another couple picks, I think, in on this team before I share it. Let me throw it on screen. Here's the squad so far. It's an absolute beast of a team, and it has Joe Burrow on it. Let me pull it up here. So here's the squad right here. It's an absolute killer of a team, just an absolute monster. I'm on the clock right now, actually, so I'll draft in a second. But here's my squad. I got Joe Burrow at quarterback. I'm going to throw it on screen so I can show you. And I'll tell you where Najee fell that I thought was ridiculous. And I almost took him. But I took Walker. Or no, who did I take? Let me see. Hold on. Okay, here it is. I took Walker instead, but he was still available. It was crazy, man. So here's my team. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Match up to $100 in your first deposit by using promo code Smitty. And if you click this link right now, which I'm going to pin in a second, you can definitely get up to $100 on your first deposit. Bonus match, dollar for dollar. But look at this squad, bro. I got Joe Burrow, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, and George Pickens. And this is in the weeklies draft. And for some reason, Kenneth Walker and Najee, in my experience so far, are falling a little bit further than normal. And I had, when I was on the clock, at 91 overall. 91 overall. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not 91, 54. Sorry. 54 overall. At 54 overall, as my 5th drafted player, I had Kenneth Walker and Najee Harris available. And I took Kenneth Walker. But it was unbelievable. I was sitting there looking at this going, I don't even know who. I mean, of course, I picked Walker. He's my 4th best pick in fantasy football 2023, so I'm going to roll with him. But I mean, that's phenomenal value. That's baking in all the risk, So I just want to answer that from both perspectives, the Warren perspective and the Najee. But Ron, you could speak to what you think Jaylen Warren's going to look like this year in Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren divide.
Jaylen Warren is no threat to Najee whatsoever. Najee's going to be. I think he has the possibility of being a top 5 running back this year.
Cody.
5 to 8, at least. But Warren's a great complimentary guy. He come in and he can get you, some yardage here and there, but he's not a starting running back. He's a complimentary running back at best.
Yeah, he couldn't take over. Like I said, he's not going to replace him. The only thing he'll do is like Deuce Vaughn. Because they're both smaller.
If Najee gets injured, yeah, he can come in and he can make things
games.
run. But they'll use him and they'll use a couple of the other running backs too. So he won't be the only running back coming in to replace Najee anyways. If something were to happen to Najee.
Yeah, let's put it this way. Like if let's say Najee went down with let's say not an injury. Let's say he got abducted by aliens and he was gone. Like he was gone. Like week 7, he's gone. This team wouldn't prepare for 2024 as Jaylen Warren as their starter. Let me put it that way. But is he a 3 or 4 week starter where he could win a league or something? Like if it's like week 12, 13, 14, 15, and you have no running back and you have him stashed and Najee got abducted. He didn't get hurt. He's just abducted. Then yeah, I mean, Jaylen Warren could be that guy, but it would be a short window of time. You know, he like if you gave him the starting job right now, he wouldn't probably, in my opinion, last to even like mid-season. So he's definitely not. He's a spot duty guy that could substitute. Cody dropped a super chat here. Cody, you still here? Dynasty startup. Fields, Bijan, Ramondre, Olave, Burks, Rashad White, Deontay, Chase Brown, Tillman, Laporta, Goddard, Mims, and Roshan. Thoughts? I mean, obviously some good parts to it for sure, bro. Bijan's a first rounder. Olave's a second rounder. In Dynasty, I mean, Ramondre's still a third rounder. I don't think he climbs or falls. He's right there. Fourth rounder, Fields in Dynasty for sure. Then it gets a little bit spotty, which is okay because it's a Dynasty you're building. There's different things that happen. But Burks, Deontay, those are guys that, you know, I would look to try and upgrade. I would try and get into a Jahan Dotson, who people don't know is coming. Burks in a future pick or something, you could potentially upgrade Burks, who people are really high on, and I'm not like super high on him. I'm not closing the door on him. I'm open-minded to him, but I also take advantage of the high ADP and value he has. So turn him into a Christian Watson before you even try Dotson, and then, you know, that would do it for me. This team would take a big step forward for me if you could get like a Christian Watson in there instead of Burks, bro, or a London. Those guys are very underrated. So, Cody, I hope you're still here, and I appreciate your super chat, my man. Thank you for dropping that. Let me know if you're still here. Let me circle around the phone lines real quick. Who was on the phone that has not talked yet? King Surge, what's up, guy? Hello? Or Kid Surge, I'm sorry. AKA Scott, another Scott, but we named him Kid Surge because I don't know why. Why did we name you Kid Surge, bro? Okay, that's why. The Silent Kid is what we'll call him. Scuba, did you have
You talking about me, Smitty?
Well, I have Kid Surge on here. Is that correct?
Oh, no, this is Scott. Tyler.
Okay, I don't know why we had that. Did something come up to where we named you that?
I don't know. Not anything I know of.
Okay, so what's your name, Scott? What?
Tyler.
Let's just call it Tyler. Tyler.
Yes, Tyler.
Okay, we're
Just
gonna
like
call you
Tyler Scott.
We're gonna call you Tyler if that's okay, because that way you don't get associated with.
Fine.
There's a lot of
That's
Scotts.
fine.
You don't want to go there. You don't want to be.
Fine, no,
you don't want to be
right.
Scott today.
No, I don't want to be scared, Scott. No, I
Yeah.
don't want to be scared, Scott.
All right, Tyler, you're live. Tyler, what can I do for you?
Well, I've got a couple things, Smitty. One is last year I called you and told you the team that I drafted in my ESPN league, and we won the championship last year. So I'm calling in to give you a re-up on this year's team.
Okay,
Let you know who it is.
Congrats, bro. Congrats. Okay, what do we got? What are we
right,
dealing
ready?
with?
Hang on, I'll pull up the ESPN real quick.
Cody, are you still here? Cody's here. Yeah, thanks, Smitty. Close to having Gibbs, but he was taking 3 picks before, so had to audible with Ramondre. Look, Ramondre's still fantastic, but that does suck because, I mean, man, Gibbs would be fantastic.
Okay, Smitty, you ready?
Yeah, go ahead, broski.
Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, Kincaid, Christian Watson, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, David Montgomery, Swift, Charbonnet, Addison, and Flowers.
Okay. How many owners are in this? How many grandmas? How many?
It's a 10-team league.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a 10 because you're loaded. Let me see if I got this straight. Fields, Bijan, Gibbs, Waddle, Lamb, Watson, Charbonnet, Kincaid, Swift. Who am I missing? That's a big name.
Miles Sanders, Montgomery, Swift.
Okay.
Addison, and Flowers.
Yeah, bro, that's a good team. I mean, the only thing I would even consider doing, I guess, would be I love your rookie running backs. Don't even hesitate on that. That's phenomenal. Fields, I love. Lamb, Watson, I'm fine with. I don't know why I'm not hating Waddle. I'm not trying to tell people to go sell Waddle for cheap, and I'm not saying he can't do well, but with Tua's likelihood of getting a concussion and just this whole situation getting turned upside down, I don't know. I take advantage of his second round, sometimes ADP. He went 13 overall in one of our mock drafts the other day, and I feel like you can go get a Garrett Wilson by just giving up something. Like you got Monty, go give Monty and Waddle and get Garrett Wilson, get Jamar Chase, get someone of that caliber in the top, the guy you drafted in the top 7 or 8. I would take it. I'd rather have Cooper Kupp, and I worry about Cooper Kupp not necessarily delivering what we expect him to deliver, but I still for some reason feel more secure in that than I do Waddle, because people are expecting Waddle to for sure be an elite wide receiver 1. And I just think there's value in trading him. It doesn't mean he's going to bust. Doesn't mean I don't like him at all. It just means you can go get something, bro. You can go get something safer. I'd draft Olave over Waddle, and you might even get more. You might have Waddle much.
Olave went too early.
Okay.
Olave went too early. I couldn't get him.
Bro, you got a lot of.
I'll see what kind of trades I can come up with.
I mean, Miles,
you
could trade Sanders and Monty very easily. Those guys aren't doing you any. I mean, not that it's not good to have, trade bait, but you trade Monty or Sanders with Waddle to a team that.
Yeah, I would try to do Sanders and keep Monty because I want to keep him with Gibbs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care either way. Gibbs and Monty don't really bother me, to not have them. I don't think that's one you have to cuff, but I don't mind it if you do. It kind of helps keep your running back room sane, and you don't have to worry about injury.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. Great squad.
The other thing is Ron Navy still there?
Yeah, he is. Just don't piss him off.
Hey, Ron, I'm not. Ron, I just want to let you know, man. Your wife's been on my prayers ever since you gave us that announcement about her health, and I haven't said anything since then. But 3 days before that, I was diagnosed with type 4 lung cancer. So I'll start treatment Friday.
Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Tyler.
Yeah. You're going to be in my prayers, definitely, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. But I just want to let y'all know. I love the show, Smitty, and I'll stay on top of this team and see what kind of trades I can make out. I'll call you back.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, if you don't mind keeping us updated just so we know how things are going with you. But prayers up for Tyler. Yeah. Drop some, and for Ron's wife as well.
They starting you on a chemo radiation therapy?
Both starting Friday.
Okay. You got this, bro.
Just try to keep your spirits up, brother. And if you need your spirits, come on in and definitely you're going to be in our prayers. She has a pet scan
man, I'll
Friday.
Be on the show, too. I'll be here tonight. I'll be here.
All right, Tyler. Hey, Tyler.
If I was just completely disappeared, then you know what happened.
Hey, no, don't talk like that, Tyler. Check in with us, bro. Keep us updated. I want you calling in from time to time. Okay. Hey, prayers up for Tyler, guys. Appreciate you, Tyler. You're the man. I'm gonna send you to the moon, pal.
To the moon.
Oh man, that's great.
I appreciate you, bro.
Maybe I'll just stay there.
Hey, you do whatever you got to do, but you make sure you check in with us, okay?
I will.
You fight your ass off, Tyler. Fight your ass off.
Yeah, you got this, bro.
Oh, I got one more thing too.
Yeah.
I would have went Pickett number 3 in those 4 quarterbacks you put up there, Smitty.
Okay, who do you put number 4?
Deshaun Watson, man, I put him 32.
Okay.
In the NFL.
Okay. There's a man that knows what he knows about Watson. And, hey,
Deshaun Watson is a piece of.
Hey,
I ain't gonna say it anyway. I don't think he's gonna be an NFL quarterback. I don't even think he's a backup quarterback.
Are you pissing off Okafor?
Come on, man.
I'm getting ready to piss somebody off. I know.
Yeah. Tyler gets a pass. You don't say a dare. You don't. Hey,
Yeah,
Okafor.
I agree.
Okafor, you don't say
think,
a damn
I mean,
thing to Tyler right now. You just shut your
At
mouth.
this point in time, I agree with you, Tyler, because I mean, Pickett's got to prove it this year. So I put him at 3, and Pickett did better than Watson did last year. So Watson was a bust last year.
Hey, Tyler, you can stay on the phone too if you want. Whatever you got to do.
I'm just gonna mute us, Smitty.
Okay, appreciate you. Yeah, if everybody can mute unless they're talking, I get some feedback sometimes. Let's go back to Ninja. Ninja, you better not say a damn word about Tyler's take. I'll tell you that right now, Ninja. But go ahead. What else you got on your mind?
No, I'm fine with that. No worries.
Tyler wins today. Tyler wins today, no matter what. I don't care if he rips on Joe Burrow. Tyler to the moon. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ninja.
Tyler, take Burrow to the Clue.
I love Joe Burrow.
There you go. And he couldn't even make me mad if he tried. Okay, go ahead, Ninja.
Yeah, blessings to Tyler, by the way, and my prayers go out to you, man. I'll definitely be having you in my thoughts and prayers tonight for sure, and hope everything goes well. Smitty, I'm going to be heading out, though. I don't really have anything more to say. I'm open, of course, to being wrong. Sometimes we plant our flag and we're sticking by it. I'm just also trying to bring, an open mind, like, hey, maybe Pittsburgh doesn't improve. Maybe it's the first time that Tomlin has a losing season. We got to be open to that as well, so. Yeah. But anyway, much love, Smitty. Thanks for having me on.
All right, man.
That would have been last year, Ninja. But, they went out. If you look at they got Philadelphia's offensive guard, one of the best in the league. And they got another guard. Their off-season pickups and drafts and everything. Pittsburgh really improved both defense and offense this year. So they're not going to be worse than they were last year. They're going to be better.
Wait. How can we say they're not going to be they could be worse? This is a team that thought Mitch Trubisky was worthy of starting for a whole season last year. We're going to trust the personnel decisions they make when they brought in Mitch Trubisky.
Well, they brought him in as a veteran to start with Pickett, putting Pickett in there, and that's what they did. They got rid of Trubisky and they sent him on the sidelines and they went Pickett. Hey,
worked exactly as planned, right?
Smitty knows. All last year, I was anti-Trubisky the whole freaking time.
Yeah, he was.
And any other players that they're picking are great players, though, outside of, making a mistake with Trubisky. Every player that they're picking from now on is a good player.
Well, I'm just saying they made the appropriate. Look, Philly had the best offensive line, arguably the best offensive line last year. We just got their best offensive line going.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes.
He should be an improvement. Anything could happen, of course, but the way the Steelers went about it, they made improvements on the defense and offense, and they should be better. They shouldn't do worse than last year. They should do better.
All right, we'll end it on that. Ninja, appreciate you. We'll see you later, pal.
Thank you, Smitty. Thank you, Ron. Good talking with you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
All right. Yeah. He's sorry. He said he's sorry, Ninja. He called you. Let's go on over to Scuba Steve. Scuba, what else you got going here? First of all, Terry Roberts says Tyler, a $2 hauler for Tyler. And Garrett with the $1.99 hauler saying prayers up. And Garrett, everybody drop a gorilla eggplant emoji 600. Garrett is the highest single super chatter in a live stream. And he has his own emoji until somebody knocks him off. Garrett, if anybody drops a $605 or $601 Super Chat, they will take over that emoji. So Garrett's emoji is at risk every single day that Garrett walks in here and drops it. So drop it for Garrett now until somebody takes it away from your Kung Fu grip. Scuba, what can I do for you, Scuba?
Yeah, I just wanted to say prayers up to Ron Navy's wife and Tyler, because cancer diagnosis definitely ain't easy. I mean, I've had the experience like some people pass away from it, so it's definitely prayers up, and hope you guys end up fighting it and beating it. But my question is about Keon Mitchell. I was seeing from the Athletic that I guess this guy's supposedly he's doing good with the Ravens as far as like how they're looking at him. I guess what I wanted to ask is because J.K. Dobbins, I mean, there is like the durability issues, and then also with Gus Edwards. I mean, because I know last year there was a lot of like people that said that Gus Edwards at the beginning of the season, like he's a great stash and everything, and he did fill in a couple different times. It looked like he was pretty good, and I guess like what's his name, Drake ended up doing pretty good too. So I want to know about this guy Mitchell. Is he somebody that I should just put on like a watch list or something just to see what happens? 'Cause, I mean, I really don't trust J.K. Dobbins and like Gus Edwards, and it seems like the Ravens like they have had trouble with the running game of trying to keep guys like staying onto the field. So I just want to know if you think that this is somebody that I should look at.
Yeah, definitely think it's somebody you should look at. If you own JK, you got to cuff, any whoever seems to appear to be the backup running back. But this is a committee, history of a committee type of situation. But it is a new offensive coordinator. Monken's coming in and dialing the pass up and not running, quite as much. He's going to throw more. So I don't know. Which in a sense could be bad, right? Maybe the run game isn't quite as potent, or it changes how that's going to develop. But I think because of the fact that you've got JK unhappy about his contract and holdout mode, and you've got this, young hungry kid walking into a total, all ACL team, recovery team, that there's always going to be opportunity. So keep an eye on it. We don't really know, though. We got to get a little sense of what he can do at the NFL level. Everybody's different when they hit the NFL level. So I think we just need to wait.
Yeah.
I don't think we can predict anything crazy. If we did, it would just be like throwing mud at the wall. I think predicting him to be the guy would be throwing mud at the wall. But certainly get ready to grab that clod of mud and toss it. But, just kind of wait and see. He's definitely worth the stash. I definitely would take him in a deep dynasty draft if I'm like scouring the pool of rookies going like, who can I grab? But like, is Deuce Vaughn is he more attractive, or Chase Brown or Roschon? Yeah. And Deuce Vaughn, okay. I don't think Deuce Vaughn's going to ever become a full-time guy. He's too small, but he could be that guy similar to Jaylen Warren, where if like he came in for a 4 or 6 game stretch, like I don't think I'm buying into Deuce Vaughn as much from a long-term value. I like him. I've been getting him. Like when he's available, I scoop him up. But I feel like he's somebody that in a redraft setting, especially if you own Tony Pollard, he could for 4 to 6 games be that electric. I just feel like there's going to be something we hear. Like we're gonna hear the story about the draft day. His dad called him, said, "You want to come to work with me?" And actually, I have that. Where is that? I got that somewhere. I got it here somewhere. Hold on, let me find it. I just feel like we're going to hear about that during the season. Here, watch this. I called Deuce Vaughn on draft day. His dad called him on draft day to give him the good news. Here's the video of me calling him. Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
It's going good. This is Smitty. My phone wasn't working. Looky here, man. You want to come to work with me on Sundays?
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Mashed potatoes! He's an exciting player to own, in redraft. I think he starts unfortunately, I think he starts like a game or two or something like that. I mean, every running back gets banged up, or if he doesn't start, he just, for some reason, is used in a weird way that, he has some kind of electric, in best ball especially, where you don't have to decide which week it's going to be. He's going to have some sort of break off 60-yard running, touchdown run. He's just exciting. He's really exciting, but do I think that Ingram or Mitchell or any of these guys are any higher than that? No. I mean, they're all in the same bucket until one of them gets an opportunity. Ron Navy says, bro fist, Brad. Thank you. dropping a $2 hauler. Thank you, Ron. And Brofist Brad saying in the first response to that was Brofist says Ron's wife from a Navy vet, and also Brofist to Tyler and his situation. So I think Tyler's still on hold. But Tyler, a lot of people wishing you well. And I know you're going to do this, Tyler. You're going to smash this to pieces, bro. You got this. Tyler, if you have any questions, speak up too. But here's this team that I'm drafting right now. I just updated it. I had another pick, and I took Evan Ingram, my only tight end right now. But that was a great selection. But I took Joe Burrow, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens, and Evan Ingram. That's a great start. This is in the Weekly's Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. But guys, these weekly contests are so amazing on Underdog. I'm going to throw the link down right now. These weekly contests, click that link. They'll match up to $100, and you can play these weekly best ball contests. You draft your team just like a normal best ball team. You draft it once. You don't get to redraft. You don't get to do lineups or waivers. You draft it once, and you have to try and predict how many players to get, the right bye weeks and everything, to individually try and win each week standalone. There's no long-term standings. There's no total points. Literally in week one, who wins week one? 20K. Who gets second overall out of all the entries? Who gets second? 10K. Who gets third? 9K, 8K, 7K, 6K. And so first place gets 20, second place gets 10. And it goes down from 10, 9, 8, 7. So you enter week two, same prize pool. $20,000 to first place in week two, standalone week. Nothing to do with week one. Nothing to do with week three. Who scored the most points in the entire fantasy football weeklies contest out of the, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands will be in. Ron, how many are in that league? Let me see. The weeklies.
How many what?
261,000 entries will be in this. That's a lot of entries.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like having 17 different leagues for your $15 entry, because week one is like its own league. You get 20K if you win it. Week two is it's like an entirely standalone league. You win week two, you get 20K. You could literally, odds of it are extremely low, but if you could win every single one of those weeks, that's 20K times 17, which is crazy, unless there's some limit in the rules that I haven't looked at, like you can't win more than 7 weeks or so. I don't know if there is. I doubt there is. I doubt there is. But anyways, this team's fire. This team is so good. I'm so excited about this team. My other team is phenomenal as well. Let me put that team on screen as well. This one's a very, very unique build that I don't normally build, but because it's weeklies, because you technically, like if you draft Henry in the weekly contest, or let's say you're worried about Cooper Kupp a little bit or something, or Christian McCaffrey getting hurt, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry, because all you need is for these guys to ball out in weeks 1, 2, 3, 4 before they ever get injured, if they even do get injured. But the risk is very low because you're not trying to accumulate points for the entire season. This team has no quarterback yet in the weeklies, but I'm going to get like Aaron Rodgers, Anthony Richardson potentially. But I got Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker. I'll get Charbonnet, London, Dotson, Pickens, Kelsey. And I'm going to get Aaron Rodgers and like Love, or Aaron Rodgers and Anthony Richardson with Charbonnet. This team is straight fire. I don't think I could redo this if I tried 15 times in a row. Barkley, Henry, Walker, London, Dotson, Pickens, Kelsey. Kelsey's a first rounder. Saquon Barkley's a second rounder. Derrick Henry's a third rounder. Drake London's a fourth rounder. Kenneth Walker's my fifth rounder. Dotson, Pickens. It's crazy. It's crazy. I feel like the weeklies is so fun because it's 17 individual weeks that have nothing to do with one another. It's like 17 leagues. Every week I'm rooting for this team and this team. I'm going to be so excited. Let's go around the room real quick, and then I'm gonna knock everybody off the phone line. We've been here for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So let's start off with Tyler. Tyler, any final words? I'll give you the floor real quickly. And then again, prayers up, bro. You got this, and I want you to check in, pal. We need you to be a regular caller here. Let's give you something to do while you're, tied up to a lot of that treatment. We got you.
All right, brother. No, I ain't got nothing else. That's it.
All right. Tyler, prayer emojis, drop them. Tyler to the moon one more time. Tyler, appreciate you, man.
To the moon.
Later, bro. All right, final thoughts, Scuba Steve.
Hey, Smitty, I was just going to ask you, so I know you're big on Mingo. What about Terrence Marshall? There's a couple times, I think last year, a lot of people had him as like a breakout candidate last year. Do you think that this guy has any upside? Frank Wright was saying that he shows the capacity to be a big play guy. So, I mean, he's somebody that you want to consider, or do you just want to have Mingo instead of him?
Hey, again, Scuba, please don't take this the wrong way. We don't want you to change. We love you the way you are. But you're so funny. You always ask a question we've like hit really hard at the beginning of the show. Yeah, like we talked about at the onset of the show, he's in the news. We brushed on it as a piece of the news. I don't expect you to be here for every waking minute. Some people jump in 15 minutes in. I get it. So I'm just laughing because Scuba always asks a question as if it wasn't like hammered home on the beginning. He's somebody to monitor for sure. If it's not Mingo, it will be probably Marshall. One of the two is going to be, I think, the potential, like, I don't know, has the most potential to be at best, I think, DJ Moore-like, which is a good wide receiver, but they could become that kind of value, I believe. I believe they've really either one of them really could. So we'll have to wait and see, but he's certainly worth grabbing, Scuba. He's certainly worth grabbing.
I guess what I'll say too before I go is, if you think about it though, couldn't it be a case where both those guys could eat? I mean, because Adam Thielen, there was a couple of games that he hasn't really been the healthiest guy as of late. I mean, like he did come on late for the Vikings and he started getting injured. And DJ Chark, he hasn't really been all that healthy either. I mean, the Lions brought him in and he ended up getting banged up. So I mean, if worse comes to worse, I could see like both guys ended up doing pretty good. I mean, I guess that could be like an outcome too, just because the older veteran guys. I mean, they have like some durability issues.
Yeah, I think, I think definitely there's an opportunity for them both to do well. Sure, I don't think one has to do great and the other has to do bad. Like they could both just do 905. Like it's certainly possible, but I don't know. I'm a wait and see. But I'm definitely like scooping them up and grabbing them in a bunch of best balls at the very, very end, like week 17, draft, round 17, round 18. I've been grabbing a little bit of Terrence Marshall the last couple drafts. I have. And off some of the news that they like what they see. They think he could definitely have potential. Mingo still feels like the better bet, I think, long term. But maybe this year Marshall proves he's, the guy. But I certainly don't feel like he's a lock by any means, but I like him at around 16, 17, 18. Absolutely. Would I take Tank Dell over him? 100% take Tank Dell over him. Do I take Curtis Samuel over him? Probably. I don't think I'd take Marshall over a Curtis Samuel, a guy that I feel like could step in and be relevant. Hodgins, I'd probably take a chance on Isaiah Hodgins before I go Marshall, but Marshall's right after those guys when you start looking in the weeds and you can't find a guy. Definitely. And Crusader says, would you drop Jerick McKinnon for Antonio Gibson? This is a tough one. I mean, I can understand the excitement behind Gibson. He's being talked about a lot. And honestly, Gibson might be the higher upside for the season because they probably want to use him a lot. And it sounds like they're going to throw to him. And he's always had a lot of potential from a receiving perspective. I don't know that he would last as a running back between the tackles. I don't, but like as a potential like 55 reception running back or 60 reception running back that gets a lot of work in the receiving department. I mean, he's got probably more upside. McKinnon feels a little safer, but I don't know. McKinnon could be nothing. He's 31 years old. Who knows how much they lean on him at all. Will he stay healthy? All I know is McKinnon was the number one running back in fantasy football in like back-to-back weeks last year. In back-to-back weeks, he was the number one, like individually and overall, I believe. He's like at least in the top two. I'm kind of spitballing off memory. I think he was number one and number two and number one overall, or is at least 1 and 2 and 2 overall in the back-to-back weeks where he blew up and had just the insane beginning, and he had an amazing ending. Receiving-wise, he was through the roof. Receiving-wise, he was better than Gibson will probably ever be. So if McKinnon can replicate how he finished last year receiving, I mean, not just like, he's good in a spot and then went back to normal. The way he finished, he would be an amazing player. So I lean McKinnon myself, but I totally understand people liking Gibson. But he has failed people a couple times, and he's kind of a risky guy to bank on. All right, Scuba Steve, I'll see you later, pal. Appreciate you.
Hey, no problem, man. Hopefully you get to shoot off some fireworks today, man. And enjoy your holiday if you get to celebrate tomorrow. See you.
Yeah, later, man. Let's go on over to Okafor. You've got the floor, and then I got to jump. So as speedy as you can deliver your question.
All right. So, Smitty, I was scrolling through Twitter the other day, about a week ago. I came across a certain report. Boom, in all bold. Jordan Love, the go-to receiver in camp, seems to be Romeo Dobbs. And it got me thinking about Christian Watson again, the conversation we had the other day. And any cause for concern?
Is this the same? So you're hearing that he's in shorts, catching footballs very well from Jordan Love, and you're coming to conclusions that he's going to be the number one wide receiver. I remember seeing this last offseason, bro. I remember seeing this during the preseason where Dobbs is supposed to be this, breakout guy. And honestly, Watson was a soldier on the field, bro. He was an absolute monster. What he did in a short period of time, I don't know that any wide receiver last year or the year before did as much damage as Christian Watson did during his span. 1 second. Let me go to the Moon Men.
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Let me see if I have it here. I don't think I have it here. I'll get the stat readily available next time. But the time frame where he exploded in that four game span, there's no wide receiver did what he did. You cannot trip and fall into the number of touchdowns and yardage that he had. Not to mention that what was a 40-yard touchdown run. He's a little Deebo Samuel, bro. And when I say little, I mean he's 6'4", runs a 4.38. Like Dobbs, go get Christian Watson a water. He wants a coffee and a water. Do it now. That's what happens on the field, bro. Watson wants something. Dobbs goes and gets it. I don't want to hear any of this Dobbs talk, okay? Until we see it on the field and it actually is true. Watson exploded last year, bro. Exploded. 4 games better than any receiver I could find. I gotta find this stat somewhere, or this graphic that I made up, because I'm talking about it and I want to show it. But tell me why you trust an early report like this to devalue what we've done.
Oh no, I'm not trusted. I'm making the conclusions.
You just want to know, okay? I understand.
Yeah. Just.
I get it. I hear you, bro. And Okafor, you got tough skin. Sometimes I come at you and you always bounce back like nothing ever happened. This guy would give me a hug if he saw me right now, even though I'm yelling at him. But hold on, let me see if I can find this graphic just so people can see what I'm talking about. I know I have it cooked up here somewhere. I have like so many graphics for my shows. This is probably like maybe 7 days ago, and it's literally like thousands of images down. I can't even find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me go over to Ron Navy real quick with his final thoughts, and then if I can come back around on this Okafor, I'll show it and then talk to you about it real quickly. If I can, I can't.
Right.
But hang tight real quick there, and if I hang up on you, it's because I couldn't find it. But Ron, go ahead. Final thoughts, pal.
Yeah, hey, you're spot on with McKinnon. Weeks 14 and 15, he was the number 1 running back. And not only that, in his last 6 games, he scored 9 touchdowns, 8 of them receiving, 1 of them was rushing.
He's
9 touchdowns in his last 6 games.
Yeah. He's crazy, bro.
That's
He's crazy. He's crazy. McKinnon's standalone value is through the roof, and I'm drafting him in every single draft pretty much. And I remember when he wasn't even re-signed yet. We were still drafting him, and I remember when we were like, wait a minute.
He was like, he had one other touchdown in week 2, and then they like didn't use him. They were like using Pacheco or whatever. They weren't using him. He wasn't getting touchdowns, but I mean, week 13 a touchdown, week 14 2 touchdowns, week 15 receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown, week 16 1 touchdown, week 17 2 touchdowns, week 18 a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
His stats were unbelievable. But here's Watson's, Okafor, here's Watson's. Watson in similar fashion, McKinnon and Watson both were in similar fashion amazing beyond their position, beyond everybody in a certain stretch of games. And the fact that they were consecutive games tells you something. You don't trip and fall, as I always say, into these kind of stats. You have to be a magnificent player. You have to be a marvel to have a weeks 10, 11, 12, and 13. 4 straight games in a row. One against Dallas. The first week was against Dallas. The third week here was against Philly. So 2 very good defenses. Against the Dallas Cowboys, Christian Watson in week 10 had 4 receptions for 107 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just an unbelievably crazy week. And then you think, okay, that was an anomaly, right? No, next week, I don't care if it was Seattle. He had 48 yards and 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns in 1 game. Next week against Philly, 110 and a score. Next week against Chicago, 48 and 2 touchdowns, one of which was a 46-yard rumble. Dobbs doesn't scare me. Dobbs in shorts, catching footballs and looking pretty good, doesn't scare me, Okafor. So I'm going to tell you, no. No. Doesn't scare me at all is my answer. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying no. It doesn't concern me. I know you're really excited to read that off to me. We already covered that in the news show. Not today, but the day that it broke, because this is old news. But Dobbs has been running his mouth in a weird way, too, saying that, he doesn't see a difference between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Maybe because he's catching, I don't know, maybe just practice balls. Maybe he's running 7-yard outs. I don't know. I'm not there. All I know is Christian Watson's proven on the field, and the coaches are drawing up the plays just because Dobbs has been catching them. Like I could go to a camp and watch somebody catching passes and say like, wow, the Rondell Moore's looking like the favorite target there in Arizona because maybe, Hollywood Brown's he's stretching and working on a calf injury or something. Like, who the hell knows what's going on? All I know is they're in shorts when this stuff was reported, and there's not much you can take from it. Dobbs is very interesting. He's a good sleeper, and I'm not saying that in a crazy, bizarro world he couldn't become the number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay. We've seen things happen like that before, but goodness gracious, my man, Christian Watson just showed you with his stats right here on screen. You don't trip and fall into 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns in 4 games. 8 touchdowns in 4 games. Do you know how crazy that is, Okafor? 8 touchdowns in 4 games, one of which was a 46-yard rushing touchdown. It's just like, honestly, I feel like almost stupid. I almost feel like a complete moron that I don't have this guy in my best 4 videos. Like every time I look at this thing, I'm like, what am I doing? I've got this right here. Here are my top 4 players in fantasy football, top 4 picks, best picks based on value. And whenever I see that, I'm like, why isn't he in here? Do I need to make a video number 5? Do I have to do some sort of amendment and say, Smitty, what are your eyeballs not telling you? Why can't you see that this man, Christian Watson, who just didn't trip and fall into these numbers, 8 touchdowns in 4 games. What other telegraphed information do you need to see coming in order to know that this guy's going to be an absolute steal in 2023? These numbers are crazy. And McKinnon, to answer the question earlier, McKinnon, same thing. The same thing you could say about McKinnon when you look at his numbers. They used him all over the place. And if you question Tony Kadarius Toney. If you question the wide receiver room a little bit in KC, that's even more of a reason to like McKinnon, because he was a receiving specialist last year to finish the year. It's crazy. But hey, Okafor, I appreciate you. You're always a good sport. You always bring up good content, ask good questions anyways. And I'll see you later, pal. Don't worry. Don't forget the Waiver Wire Week 1 show is dropping tomorrow. Early Waiver Wire Week 1, okay? So get ready for that premiere.
All right, sweetie.
You're the man. Later, Okafor. Ron, final thoughts. Final thoughts, Ron.
Yeah, sorry about that. I thought I muted. I didn't. That was my dog barking.
They're
lighting fireworks off outside.
All right, final thoughts. Anything else?
No.
All right.
I'm exhausted.
All right, yeah. I'm
Later.
tired too. Later, Ron. See you. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Probably won't be live tonight unless I go on the Dynasty channel. So subscribe if you haven't already to the Dynasty channel, which is a separate channel. Maybe I'll do a Dynasty show at midnight or something like that. So drop that link right there. Subscribe if you're new. Let's do a Dynasty show tonight if I can. No promises, but I will try. And tomorrow we should have Week 1 Waiver Wire. How can you have a Week 1 Waiver Wire, Smitty, this early? Well, you'll just have to tune in and see, Bob. Appreciate you all. I will see you all later. Go get Chris Olave.
A top 5 wide receiver hides among the people. His cost of entry is near illegal. Few see him coming. Many stay away. His name is Chris Olave.
Prayers up to Tyler and Miss Navy. Appreciate all your prayer emojis and super chat prayer emojis and all that. Drop a couple more prayer emojis in the chat for Miss Navy and for Tyler. Tyler, appreciate you. Tyler, you got this. Miss Navy has this as well. Please check in, Tyler, weekly. And I'll see you all on the Dynasty channel. That link is being dropped again right now. So click that link and make sure you're there. If I do go live tonight on the Dynasty channel, I will see you all tomorrow. Happy 4th of July. I'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Probably live if news breaks tomorrow as well, on top of a premiere. Tomorrow might be a 3-show day. Premiere, live breaking news show, because I sense some breaking news coming tomorrow. And my ears are tingling for it. And then the 7 p.m. show. See you all later. Deuces.